Chapter 1178. In the Eight Desolates province, the mountains were covered in snow. The snow continued to fall tirelessly, causing people to wonder if it was still spring. On the snowy ground, a person was walking. He was dressed in a white robe and held a long staff made of dragon bones in his hand. His eyes were fixed on a cave in front of him. Over there, a nest of rabbits was already rumbling with hunger because they had not eaten for a long time. They were about to die. Tranfa, the punishment of all living beings. The long winter was still not over. Nothing could live, and this nest of rabbits was just one of the countless victims. The old man was silent. He flipped his palm lightly, and instantly, the snow on the ground beside him flew up. Wisps of withered grass seemed to be attracted and gathered in his hand. In the blink of an eye, a bundle of withered grass appeared in his hand. He crawled to the side of the cave and handed the withered grass into it. The nest of rabbits did not seem to be afraid at all and went forward to eat it. There was not a trace of violence on the old man's body. Even the small animals could feel the peaceful aura from him. Naturally, this was not a stranger. It was Chu Chu. Chu Chu had lived in seclusion in the mountains for many years and did not care about the affairs of the world. However, he had always been watching Tranfa. He also knew that there was a war between humans happening in the distance, and the initiators were Lin Muyu and Qin Yin. However, Chu Chu could not help them. There was no justice in this war. Chu Chu pitted all living beings. If he participated in the war, it would obviously go against his original intention. If he became a pawn of the war, then he would not be Chu Chu. At this moment, streams of light suddenly flew past above his head and directly fell into the forest in the distance. Although Chu Chu had lost his divine power, he could still sense those powerful auras. There were at least thousands of auras appearing in the broken cauldron world. Moreover, these auras were extremely evil and incomparably ruthless. The only explanation for the Devil Dao was the Devil Dao. Not too far away, Chu Chu carried his staff and dashed over. When he arrived, he found that the entire forest had been destroyed. The appearance of these Mara was like a meteor, exploding a deep pit in the ground. It was unknown how many innocent lives had been lost because of this. Roar, the battle tiger beneath Demon General Theron let out an angry roar. The roar stirred up a wave of air that blew away the accumulated snow. At this time, Theron had already discovered Chu Chu's presence. His eyes were cold as he smiled. "Old man, where did you come from?" Chu Chu didn't say a word. He just stood there indifferently with the help of his walking stick. "What? Can't you hear what I'm saying?" Theron sneered and said, "Tell me quickly, who are you? Why are you in this wilderness?" Moro at the side laughed and said, "Lord Demon General, this old man might be a mute. Why bother with him? Just let this lowly one slaughter him with a single slash. He seems to have some ability." At this time, Chu Chu said, "This is the broken cauldron world. What are you doing here?" "Doing what?" Theron's mouth was full of a sinister smile. He spurred the battle tiger towards Chu Chu and said, "What else can I do? Raise this place to the ground. These 6 realms will soon be the territory of the devil world. Aren't you taking off your pants to fart by asking such a question?" Chu Chu couldn't help but frown and sigh. It seems that before the war is over, another wave has arisen. "Are you an idiot, old man? What nonsense are you talking about?" Theron shouted in a low voice, "Get over here immediately and tell me where the demon gods of this world are. Also, who are the enemies of the demon gods?" Chu Chu laughed and said, "A bunch of hypocrites. Motherf ***, I'll let you act all high and mighty again." With a roar, Theron spurred his battle tiger forward like a bolt of lightning, sweeping his flaming war hammer towards Chu Chu's body. He had used at least 50% of his strength in this attack. He was already planning to kill Chu Chu in one blow. However, what Theron didn't expect was that this attack actually missed. With a swoosh, Chu Chu's body instantly turned into flying snow and merged with the surrounding snow as if he had never appeared. Ha! Theron's eyes were cold. What kind of crafty technique is this? Where is he? One of the Mara said, Lord Demon General, I heard that the people of the 6 realms cultivate a variety of martial arts. They are much more cunning than the simple demonic flame that we cultivate. This old man might just be in existence similar to a warlock. Let's not bother about him and find Wuji demon god Wuchang first. Do you know where Wuchang is? Yes, Wuchang is from the Yangshang Empire. He must be in Tianji City. According to the Demon Realm Compass, Tianji City is about 2,000 miles to the east of us. We can reach there overnight. Okay, lead the way. Let's go and see Wuchang. Yes. After Theron and the others left, a figure slowly condensed in the whistling wind and snow. It was Chu Chu. He sighed and muttered to himself, when will the demonic path stop running amok? I must inform you about these things as soon as possible so that he can be prepared. As he spoke, Chu Chu opened his palm gently and said, Lin Muyu's servant, Lulu, appear. In the jungle, a buzzing sound appeared. An inconspicuous scalp landed in Chu Chu's hand. With a swoosh, he contacted Lin Muyu with a laser imaging. Lin Muyu was holding a military meeting at night. She couldn't help but be stunned. Chu Chu, is that you? It's me. Chu Chu said solemnly, Greetings, Your Highness Yin and Princess Shi. Chu Chu, you don't have to be so courteous. Qin Yin smiled and nodded beside Lin Muyu. Chu Chu, since you took the initiative to contact us, there must be something, right? Lin Muyu asked. Yes. Chu Chu said, the people from the demon realm have already entered the mortal world. You have to be careful. They have about 1,000 demon gods. The leader is called Theron. He rides a demon tiger and his strength is unfathomable. Those pawns are also very strong. They can use divine power. They will definitely find trouble with you. Be careful, I am already considered half a cripple. I can't help you much. Chu Chu has already helped a lot. Then, take care. I will take my leave. Goodbye, Chu Chu. After the scout bee flew away, Lin Muyu's mood became more and more solemn. At the side, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, Si Kongyao, Situ Shui, Lu Bai, and the rest also looked at each other. It's fine if the demon gods like Wuchang and Longxi appeared, but now a group of demon gods from the demon realm have also appeared. They are really troublesome. Wei Chou frowned. Lin Muyu frowned and said to the communication device, Lulu, inform Feng Jixing of this news. Got it, brother. Lulu was always there. What do we do now? Si Kongyao asked. We can't lose our composure. Do what you have to do. But be careful of their sudden assassination. Yes. At dawn, the sky above Tianji Palace was fluttering with light snow. A group of Mara walked straight in from outside the palace. No one dared to stop them. And in the middle of the crowd was Demon General Theron, who was riding on a war tiger. Dang dang dang, the bell in the palace rang. Yangshang, Wuchang, Longxi, and the rest as well as the civil and military officials came out to welcome them. Yangshang was wearing a dragon robe. He stood on the stairs with a dignified look and said respectfully, The Lord of the Kingdom of Shang, Yangshang, pays respect to Lord Demon God. You are Yangshang? Theron urged the war tiger and walked up the stairs without fear. Then his eyes fell on Wuchang and said, You are Wuji Demon God? Yes. Wuchang was a calm and steady person. He cupped his fist and said, Greetings to Lord Demon God. You don't have to be so polite. Theron said lightly, I am Theron, the commander of the Demon Realm's vanguard army. And you are the Wuji Demon God recognized by the Book of Sealing Demon. You control the law of darkness and have a higher position than me. But, you are not the real demon god after all. You still need some tests. Wuchang smiled slightly, I know. This was an extremely common logic. Even if Wuchang was stronger than Theron, so what? Theron represented the demon realm while Wuchang was just a demon god in the mortal world. Their positions were still different. Xianxia was a little embarrassed by Xian Bing and said, "May I know why Lord Theron has come to the mortal world this time?" Theron turned around and looked at Xianxia. "Xianxia, are your country and your army willing to pledge allegiance to the demon realm?" "This. What does Lord mean?" He. Theron laughed. "It's very simple. If you are willing to pledge allegiance, then you are all the people of the demon realm. I will naturally treat you well. If you are not willing, then you are the enemy of the demon realm. I will lead the Mara army to slaughter you all." Xianxia only thought for 3 seconds and said respectfully, "I am willing to lead all the people of the kingdom of Shang to pledge allegiance to the demon realm." "Good." Theron smiled with satisfaction. "Now tell me, who is the enemy of the demon realm?" "Qin, Tianjue, Lin Muyu, Qinyu." Xianxia said word by word. "Who is stronger?" "Qin, Lin Muyu." "Good." Theron raised his war hammer and said, "All Mara listen up. Be ready to attack at any time to kill Lin Muyu. Long live the demon realm." The group of Mara screamed madly. Wu Chang, Yangshang, Longxi, and Filei were all stunned. The people of the demon realm seemed to be a bunch of lunatics. In the demon realm, within the purple flame rift, a winged Mara was flying up and down, patrolling around. Inside the rift was the demonic flame lava that surged like a river. That was something that the people of the demon realm loved the most. Almost all the gods of the demon realm would absorb demonic power from the demonic flame lava to cultivate their own cultivation. Next to the lava, ugly demon soldiers crazily devoured the lava. They screamed miserably from the heat, but they still devoured it greedily. These demon soldiers had the lowest status in the demon world. Mo Luo was like a god to them, because demon soldiers were not real gods. They were just pawns. Mo Luo was the first stage of a demon god. As the group of demon soldiers devoured the lava, a figure flashed above them like lightning. They didn't even notice it. Shi Yan finally came. Chapter 1179. A row of Mara troops slowly patrolled the cave. They were responsible for the safety of the residence of the devil general Ziyan, and this devil's cave was also the residence of Ziyan. In the devil world, the devil's flames were rampant, and the environment outside was so harsh that even the powerful devil general could only find such a cave to rest. There were more than 30 Mara in total, and each of them had cold eyes and stooped bodies, breathing heavily. But just as this group of Mara was patrolling the cave as usual, suddenly an invisible aura rippled out. It was the domain of God, and they were completely unable to move. They couldn't even shout. The next moment, a beautiful figure descended from the sky. It was Shi Yan. She didn't say much, and the light divine power in her palm slowly pressed down. Pft, pft, pft. The bodies of the Mara could not withstand the heavy pressure of the domain, and one by one, they exploded, and blood flowed everywhere. Shi Yan didn't stop at all. She leaped and flew into the depths of the cave. Over there, a powerful aura had already been detected because of her killing, and the aura was constantly rising. Swoosh! The agile figure shot into the depths of the cave like an arrow into a dense forest. The next second, Shi Yan was already standing straight on the giant rock on the left side of the hall at the end of the cave, and a pair of beautiful eyes looked disdainfully at the person on the throne. That person had long purple-red hair, a ferocious steel mask on his face, and a long sword glowing with red flames was placed beside him. He looked at Shi Yan silently, as if he had already known that she would come. On the side, dozens of Mara were all shocked, and they raised their weapons and rushed over. "Stop!" The devil general Ziyan spoke, and his voice was like a ghost's roar from purgatory. "She is mine, no one can snatch her from me. All of you back off, there is no place for you to intervene here." The crowd of Mara roared wildly, but they kept holding their weapons and retreated according to the order, watching from afar. "You are Ziyan?" Shi Yan asked. "That's right, I am Ziyan." Ziyan looked up at Shi Yan and said, "Your breath is very strong. You should be a survivor from the 6 realms. If I were you, I would find a hole to hide in and live for a while longer." Instead of coming to the demon realm to seek death like a moth flying into the fire, Shi Yan held the Qi sword in her hand and smiled indifferently. Stop dreaming. You are no match for me with your abilities. Can't you feel it? Of course I can, but so what? Ziyan sneered, do you dare to kill me? As long as you kill me, the news will immediately spread to every corner of the devil world, and there will be even more experts of the devil world coming to kill you. I'm just a mere devil general. Above me, there are still the Holy King, the Holy Emperor, and the Supreme of the devil world. They are not people you can fight against. Cut the crap. I don't want to kill you. I just want to ask you something. Oh. Say it. Ziyan secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Xian said, where is Eva? Eva? Who is that? Ziyan was startled. The blazing angel who guards the six realms seal, my sister. She has been swallowed by the devil flame. Tell me, is Eva in the devil world? Has she been taken away by you? Xian was a little emotional. I don't know. Ziyan said, the devil world's army that participated in breaking the six realms seal did not include me, and with my strength, I am not qualified to participate in the war against the six realms. I think you are asking the wrong person. How dare you? Xian shouted, and the six wings behind her spread out. Her aura was so cold that Ziyan and all the other Mara squatted down in fear. How could they withstand the sharpness of the blazing angel? Xian's bright eyes were filled with killing intent. The devil world swallowed Eva. Do you dare to say that you, a devil general, have no idea? Ziyan knelt on the ground, trembling, but his palm gently moved to the long sword beside him. Do you want to resist? Xian's eyes were burning. The power of her domain quickly revolved and shot towards the ground like a white flame. In an instant, it actually melted Ziyan's weapon into a pool of molten iron. Xian's strength was so deep that it was terrifying. Ziyan's heart beat violently. This woman was not human at all. Ziyan wanted to explain, but didn't know where to start. The Qi sword in Xian's hand slowly hummed. She sneered and said, I'll give you one last chance. Tell me, where is Eva? If you don't, I will make you evaporate along with this hole of yours. Ziyan trembled and finally compromised. He said to the group of Mara, all of you get out. No one is allowed to come in without my order. Immediately. Yes, Lord Devil General. Mara and the others quickly left. Ziyan looked up at Xian and said, I can tell you, but you must promise not to kill me. Only you won't kill me. Yes, I mean what I say, said Xian. Ziyan took a deep breath and said, Eva was indeed devoured by the demonic flames. However, her cultivation was very high and her divinity protected her body automatically, so she wasn't completely devoured and disintegrated. Therefore, although her body was burned, her spirit and fate seeped into her broken sword. The demon world sent a large number of troops to the six realms and retrieved the broken sword in which Eva's fate resided. This broken sword is now in the Fekta Temple. Fekta Temple? What's that place? The Fekta Temple. That's the heart of the demon world. It's the palace of the 10,000 Demon Emperor, one of the 4 holy emperors. Not only is the demon emperor guarded by the 10,000 holy kings, but also the 10,000 demon emperors. Why did they bring Eva's fate to the Fekta Temple? Asked Xian with a frown. Ziyan shook his head. Given my status, I don't have the right to know, but I heard that Eva's fate is the fate of a perfect god and is extremely precious. Therefore, the demon emperor plans to use Eva's fate as a source of power to speed up the awakening of the god-destroying pagoda. God-destroying pagoda? Xian already had a bad feeling. What is the god-destroying pagoda? Tell me. Ziyan laughed bitterly. The more I say, the more I can't turn back. Of course you can't turn back. Tell me. The god-destroying pagoda is the #1 divine weapon in the demon realm. It is said to be able to destroy gods and Buddhas. It is extremely powerful and can reflect the power of the entire demon realm. In other words, a single attack from the god-destroying pagoda uses the power of the entire demon realm. No god can go against the god-destroying pagoda. However, the god-destroying pagoda was destroyed in a fierce battle many years ago. The holy emperors of the later generation spent many years to repair the god-destroying pagoda, but it requires an extremely vast amount of divine power to awaken the pagoda spirit. It is said that the 7 luminaries demon emperors will provide at least 60% of the power for the awakening of the god-destroying pagoda. The remaining 40% will depend on Eva's fate. If that is not enough, the 4 holy emperors will think of other ways. At this point, Ziyan could not help but take another look at Shi Yan. I know you. You are the blazing angel Shi Yan, one of the strongest people in the Western divine realm. You are very lucky to still have divine power. However, let me give you a piece of advice. Hurry up and leave. Don't try to go against the 4 holy emperors. You are no match for them. If you go to the Fekta temple, you will just be walking into a trap and sacrificing yourself as a source of power for the god-destroying pagoda. Shi Yan frowned slightly. Is the god-destroying pagoda really that powerful? It is more than powerful. Ziyan smiled faintly and said, I heard from the ancestors of the devil realm that no matter if it is the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal or the ancient Buddhas, almost no one can withstand a blow from the god-destroying tower. Even if it is the sky beyond heaven, such as Panga the Great Emperor, I am afraid that they cannot withstand a blow from the god-destroying tower. Do you know how Theodore, the former king of the Northern Divine Realm, died? That's right, a simple attack from the god-destroying pagoda destroyed Theodore's body and soul. Think about how powerful Theodore was back then. Who in the 4 divine realms could go against him? Shi Yan could not help but be stunned. She had heard of Theodore's name before. However, the ancient books only recorded that this powerful god had suddenly disappeared. Many people assumed that he had ascended to the supreme divine realm beyond the heavens. However, they did not know that he had actually died. Alright, let me ask you one more question. Go ahead. Why do you want to tell me everything about the god-destroying pagoda? Shi Yan asked faintly. Ziyan knelt on the ground and laughed bitterly. If I say it, you must promise not to laugh. Alright, go ahead. Ziyan coughed in a serious manner. Little stars began to twinkle in his eyes. He stared straight at Shi Yan and said, Although I am a demon god, I have been righteous and kind since I was born. Isn't there an old saying in the primordial realm of desolation? Humans are born kind. The reason why I told you so much is because I want to be a good person. Oh, no, I want to be a good demon. Pfft. Shi Yan still burst into laughter. You said you wouldn't laugh. Ziyan glared. Alright, I won't laugh. Shi Yan waved her hand. Actually, I had planned to kill you and your subordinates after asking you this question. However, because of what you said, I have decided to let you go. As she spoke, Shi Yan turned around and was already prepared to leave. Wait. Ziyan stood up. Lady Shi Yan, are you really going to the Fekta temple? Yes, I have no other choice. Shi Yan said indifferently, Firstly, I can't let Eva die like this. Secondly, since I know the secret of the god-destroying pagoda, I can't just stand by and watch it awaken and kill the righteous gods. Thirdly, since I'm here, I don't plan on going back alive. Eva isn't your biological sister. Why do you want to sacrifice tens of thousands of years of cultivation? You don't understand. You are a demon. You don't understand friendship. No, I want to understand. Ziyan knelt again and said, Lady Shi Yan, if you trust me, Ziyan, I am willing to bring you to the Fekta temple and help you resurrect Lady Eva's spirit. Aren't you afraid of death? Yes, but I want to be a good person. Oh, no, a good demon. Do you think I will trust you? Ziyan said confidently, As you said, you have no other choice. If you trust me, you might have a chance to save Lady Eva. If you don't trust me, you will only be going to the Fekta temple to die. You don't even know where the god-destroying pagoda is, or where the broken sword where Lady Eva's spirit is. Furthermore, why don't you trust me? Although the demons are evil, they are not deceitful. We always do bad things to the end. We will not pretend to do bad things and then tell others that we are a good demon. Stop talking nonsense and go on your way. Yes. Ziyan was overjoyed. Chapter 1180. Xishan Province, Shiping Prefecture. Heavy snow was falling endlessly. In the meeting hall, everyone was a little nervous. Feng Jixing sat on the commander's seat, holding an edict in his hand, and said, Her Highness Yin's edict orders that all the generals above the rank of captaincy of the Great Qin Empire in Xishan Province must immediately disappear. How do we disappear? Xiang Yu was stunned. Think of a way yourself. Disguise and live in seclusion are all ways. Ding Shi frowned and said, We have hundreds of thousands of men and horses in our hands. Why should we be afraid of a few insignificant Mara? Feng Jixing took a deep breath and said, Because Lin General said that Mara does not belong to the mortal world. They are demons. The opponent that is truly worthy of them is a god. However, we do not have a god, so we use mortal soldiers to fight against demons. This is unfair to the soldiers. Perhaps 300,000 soldiers can kill these Mara, but to injure 1,000 enemy, we will lose 800 men. Therefore, Lin General ordered that we are not allowed to use mortal soldiers to fight against Mara. Qianfeng squinted his eyes and said, Lin General and Her Highness Yin are indeed wise. That Theron led 1,000 Mara into Tianji Palace, presumably they will work for Yangshang. Therefore, their next step will definitely be to kill the leader of the Qin Empire because assassination is the fastest and most convenient way to end a war. In this way, everyone here will be in danger. We must learn to hide ourselves to preserve our strength. Yes. Feng Jixing nodded and said, I have already made arrangements. The ventilation in the cellar of the Imperial Garden is not bad. It can also provide food for half a year. From today onwards, those who are willing to live in the cellar with me can go together. As for the defense of Xishan Province, leave it to the generals outside. Our meeting hall will temporarily stop working. Do you all understand? Yes. Ding Shi and Qianfeng nodded in unison. But Qin Yan frowned and said, General Feng, we're the main force. If we lay low and don't come out, the outside world will spread. The spearheads of those fiend world's gods will definitely point at Big Brother and Cousin. What should we do? This morning, Dragon Rider has already sent the Wind Origin Stone, Senior Luo Tianji, and his treasures to Red Rock City. I'm sure you already has a way to deal with it. We don't have to ask anymore. Yes. Feng Jixing looked at everyone again and said, Take a breath of fresh air. 2 hours later, all of you will enter the invisible state. Yes, Deputy Commander. Red Rock City, Marshal's Mansion. Lin Muyu, Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, Wei Chou, Feng Zhanlin, Wei Chou, Zhu Long and the others were all present. A group of people surrounded a small sand table. On the sand table wasn't a map of Red Rock City, but a small walled city. The scale wasn't big, almost the same size as the courtyard of an official's residence. It was just that the walls were slightly higher. What's this? Wei Chou was dumbfounded. Lin Muyu said, Zhang Family Fortress. It's the courtyard of a rich man in Red Rock City, 20 miles north of the city. The walls are 10 meters high and 3 meters thick. It's surrounded by dense forests, and the environment is pretty good. The air is fresh, and there are mountains and rivers. Rich man Zhang often brings some women to the fortress to stay and vacation. It's said that this fortress can defend against mountain bandits and is famous far and wide. And then? Tang Xiaoxi squinted her beautiful eyes and asked with a smile. So I want to bring you and Xiao Yin for a vacation, hee hee. Lin Muyu laughed. Wei Chou, Situ Sen and the others coughed. Qin Yin blushed. Seriously, alright, but I still want to go to Zhang family fortress for a vacation. Lin Muyu held the edge of the sand table and said, 2 days ago, rich man Zhang offered this fortress to me under the invitation of the military police camp. I also sent some soldiers to Zhang family fortress to repair the walls and buildings. From today onwards, we will be living in Zhang family fortress. Wei Chou was stunned, but Your Excellency, the Mara army led by Theron may come at any time. Even masters like Wu Chang, Filei, and Longxi may come together to carry out the assassination. You and Her Highness are important figures of the Qin Empire. You can't go out of the defense range of the Longdan army camp, otherwise, Wei Chou, don't say it. Lin Muyu said softly, I won't let the soldiers of the Longdan army camp fight against the devil for me. It's too selfish. I just want the whole world to know that I live in Zhang family fortress with Xiao Yin and Xiao Shi. I want to build this fortress into a palace in the shortest time, so that people like Theron and Wu Chang will come to trouble me. Nangong Lai took a deep breath. Leader, what are you going to do? Situ Sun also said, yes, Your Excellency. Can a palace fight against more than 1,000 devil gods? How will we know if we don't try? Lin Muyu smiled and pointed at the Zhang family fortress on the sand table, saying, I have ordered to use bell-absorbing rocks to pave the stone floor around the fortress, so that the devil gods will lose the ability to break the void around the Zhang family fortress. In addition, Senior Luo Tianji must bury wine stone around the fortress. The wind saw is the weapon to stop and kill Mara. Wei Chou said, but the wind saw can't kill all of Mara. Once they break through the wind saw, how will we deal with them? Lin Muyu stretched out her hand and pressed on the side of the fortress, saying, build 4 turrets around the fortress. They must be sturdy and install a deicide cannon on each of them. In addition, build around 24 arrow turrets along the inner walls. Place 20 godly archers on each arrow turret and equip them with devil heart white drill arrows. As long as they have enough arm strength, killing Mara will not be a problem. These can only deal with the threat from the sky for a short period of time. What will happen once the devil gods land? Wei Chou looked worried. Don't worry. Lin Muyu pointed at the ground inside the fortress and said, there will be traps installed here. There will be 2 giant mechanical beasts lying in ambush, Zilong. The Zilong has wind stone installed on its body and its power is extraordinary. Even people at the level of Longxi and Filei may not be able to gain the upper hand against the Zilong's attack. To think that back in the 64 domains, I also suffered a loss from the Zilong because of my poor cultivation. Are these mechanical beasts really that powerful? Situ Sen was interested. Luo Tianji twirled his beard and smiled. Does General Situ want to try? The surface of the Zilong is tempered with hard iron and cannot be penetrated by swords and sabers. On the inside, the wind stone is controlling its power. The attacks launched will carry the divine power stored in the stone. Situ Sen's mouth twitched. Then forget it. I concede defeat. Lin Muyu said, that's it. The 2 Zilong will be the main attacking and defending forces. At this time, with Wei Chou's Hoi Bao, we can more or less ensure that there is nothing to worry about. Even if they break through the Zilong's line of defense, we still have, what else? Wei Chou looked curious. There's still the flying fish deity, Lin Muyu smiled faintly. These piranhas are very powerful. They will definitely be able to hold back these demon gods. Whether it is Theron or Wu Chang, these people should not have seen the Zilong, flying fish deity, and so on. Moreover, we need to continue digging the underground tunnels under the fortress and cover them with white drill arrows. In addition, we still have the heavenly book in our hands. Even if the Wuji demon god, Wu Chang, comes in, we will make him suffer. In the end, the more information Lin Muyu revealed, the more relieved everyone was. It seemed that fighting against the demon gods was not impossible. It all depended on whether they were willing to give it their all. Wei Chou frowned and said, although Sir's plan is already very thorough, digging the tunnels and building the turrets all require time. It will definitely not be completed within 2 to 3 days. Sir, don't worry. Lin Muyu said in a low voice, I have received a secret report. After the kingdom of Shang suffered a series of crushing defeats in West Mountain Province and Red Cliff Province, the border is no longer stable. 3 days ago, the barbarian tribes in the north of Tianji Province attacked the border. These barbarians are so strong that they even annihilated an army of 2,000 people. Therefore, Yang Shang has already requested Theron's Mara army to quell the rebellion. I believe that Yang Shang must want to personally witness Mara's strength before deciding whether or not to make a move against us. Qin Yin's pair of starry eyes were smiling. She said, let's not talk about the distance, it will also take time to quell the rebellion. We have at least 10 days to prepare. In 10 days, we can mobilize a large amount of manpower and it will be enough to rebuild the Zhang family fortress. Yes, this subordinate will mobilize the Longdan army camp to build the fortress. This matter doesn't need to be a secret. Remember to collect antiques, paintings, and strange stones from the surrounding cities and counties and move them into the summer residence. The bigger the news, the more determined Yang Shang will be to make a move. Yes. Lin Muyu coughed and said, I think the movement might not be big enough. Why don't we follow the example of the Yihe kingdom and hold the conferring ceremony in the Zhang family fortress? Your Highness will also confer 7 to 8 imperial marshals. This will definitely shock the world. It will also make Yang Shang, Qinyu, and the others feel that our Qin Empire is too arrogant. Arrogant, do we really have to be so arrogant? We have a strong army and an invincible army. Why shouldn't we be arrogant? Alright, let's go with the plan. When should we set the date? 3 days later, at least the fortress will have a different appearance. We will confer the marshal there. Late at night, the marshal's mansion was quiet. Under the light of the candlelight, Qin Yin pursed her red lips and was hesitant. The conferring of the marshal was really a headache. So many generals had made contributions in the war, and it wouldn't be good to miss any of them. Moreover, if the ranking of the marshal was biased, it might cause dissatisfaction. At this moment, Qin Yin actually missed Su Muyun, Zhen Yifan, and Chu Chu. If they were here, this matter would probably be easier to decide. As for the conferring of the marshal, Lin Muyu avoided it because he was definitely on the list. It was not good to intervene. Therefore, only Tang Xiaoxi, Chu Yao, Si Kongyao, and Ouyang Yan accompanied Qin Yin. Since the Yihe kingdom had 7 marshals, why don't we also appoint 7 marshals? Chu Yao said with a faint look in her eyes. Sister Chu Yao, do you have any suggestions for the candidates? Yu, Feng Jixing, Qian Feng, Qin Yan, Ding Shi, Xiang Yu, Tang Zhen, Beili Cang, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, Zhang Wei, Chen Xiaoli, and Qin Yong. These are all qualified candidates. Chu Yao bit her red lips and said, I can only think of so many for now. Tang Xiaoxi said, we also need to include the people guarding Lanyan City. Su Yu and Zhen Yifan should also be on the list. Qin Yin nodded. In fact, the most troublesome thing was the ranking. How to rank the 7 marshals was selected was also a skill. Otherwise, if dissatisfaction was caused, the morale of the army would probably be shaken. After staying up for a night, the next day, the list of the 7 marshals was finally released. The order was, Lin Muyu, 1st Marshal, Heaven Suppressing Marshal, Qin Dukedom Feng Jixing, 2nd Marshal, Country Suppressing Marshal, Xian Dukedom Qianfeng, 3rd Marshal, North Pacifying Marshal, East Dukedom Xiang Yu, 4th Marshal, East Pacifying Marshal, Eastern Dukedom Ding Shi, 5th Marshal, South Pacifying Marshal, Southern Dukedom Tang Zhen, 6th Marshal, West Pacifying Marshal, Western Dukedom Zhen Yifan, 7th Marshal, Eagle Yang Marshal, Divine Marquis, in addition, Qin Yan, Wei Qiu, Situ Sen, Su Yu, Zhang Wei, Beili Cang, Chen Xiaoli and 10 others were conferred the title of Great Generals, each with a title of nobility. The imperial edict was immediately sent to Xishan province and Lanyan city. It was necessary to let the whole world know of the great power of Qin state. Chapter 1181. In the afternoon, after Tang Xiaoxi announced the name list and order of the 7 marshals of the empire, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, and Nangong Lai looked a little strange, especially Wei Chou, who looked a little disappointed. Indeed, with his contributions, he was qualified to be one of the 7 marshals. In terms of military merits, it should be his turn. However, things in this world were not as simple as rewards based on contributions. Lin Muyu could see that Wei Chou was unhappy, and she could also see the indignation of Situ Sen and Situ Shui. After the meeting, Lin Muyu invited Wei Chou and the Situ siblings to have a drink together. There was no one else, even Qin Yin, Tang Xiaoxi, and Si Kong Yao were sent away by Lin Muyu. Although it was spring, it was still snowing heavily. The chefs in the mansion quickly stewed vegetables, while Situ Shui warmed the wine for everyone. In the huge meeting hall, there were only 5 people: Lin Muyu, Wei Chou, Situ Sen, Feng Shi, and Situ Shui. The wine is warmed, Your Excellency. Situ Shui handed the wine to them. Lin Muyu stood up and personally poured wine for Wei Chou and Situ Sen, then said, "Come, let's drink the first cup first." Yes. Everyone drank the wine in one gulp and swallowed the spicy fragrance. Lin Muyu refilled the wine, took a deep look at everyone, and said, "I originally had 5 generals under my command. In addition to the 4 of you, there was also Cangnan Master Su Jiantao, but he died for his country. In terms of qualifications, each of you has the opportunity to be one of the 7 marshals, but Her Highness did not choose you. I think you all know why." Wei Chou said, "Your Excellency, there is no need to say it. I understand. Although I understand, I still have to say it. This way, everyone will feel better." Lin Muyu cleared her throat and said, "Me, Feng Jixing, and Qian Feng are definitely among the 7 marshals. There is no doubt about this. As for the other 4, Xiang Yu is an old general of the empire and has always had a reputation. After so many years of ruling Lingnan, his reputation is deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. It can be said that with Xiang Yu around, the 4 provinces of Lingnan can be stabilized. Therefore, Xiang Yu must also be one of the 7 marshals, followed by Ding Shi. We all know that Ding Shi is an old general of Iha country, but Ding Shi has always been a person who can distinguish right from wrong. During the chaos of Lanyan City, he spared me and saved Her Highness's life. It can be said that without Ding Shi, there would probably be no great Qin today. Moreover, Ding Shi also made countless contributions in the battle against the celestial pole continent, so it is understandable that he is one of the 7 marshals." Among the heads, Wei Chou said, "We have always respected Marshal Ding very much. We have no objection to him being one of the 7 marshals." Next is Tang Zhen. Lin Muyu gazed at the reflection in the wine cup and said, "Tang Zhen is a general of 7 Seas City, and is currently the greatest military commander in the Tang family apart from Shaoxi. More importantly, Tang Zhen's wife is Linghu, the woman who controls the entire demonic race. Tang Zhen alone is related to the safety of the entire western border of the empire. Therefore, Tang Zhen's ranking among the 7 marshals is also in consideration of the stability of the western border. The last one is Zheng Yifan. We all know very well in our hearts that Zheng Yifan is an old subject of the former emperor of the same generation as Su Muyun and Tang Lan. Although he once had disloyal intentions, now it seems that Zheng Yifan has turned over a new leaf. Zheng Yifan alone represents all the old subjects of the Qin and Jin era. Only by ranking him among the 7 marshals can the old subjects be reassured. Otherwise, it will be troublesome if these old fellows take advantage of us fighting outside to overturn the rivers and seas in Lanyan City." Wei Chou was a bit lost in thought and said, "Milord, this subordinate understands what you mean. This subordinate also understands these principles. It doesn't matter. Isn't this subordinate still the head of the 10 generals? I've still wronged you." Lin Muyu nodded and said, "If Cangnan Master were still alive, he and you would both be qualified to be ranked among the 7 marshals. Your contributions are even above Xiang Yu and Tang Zhen's. I will remember all of this in my heart." Wei Chou smiled and said, "If Milord hadn't selected this subordinate from the Eagle Nest camp, I'm afraid Wei Chou would still be an ignorant guard. How could I possibly command this magnificent army? Wei Chou will never forget milord's grace of rebirth. Situ-san also cupped his fists and said, if not for milord, this subordinate would still be the king of mercenaries in Lanyan City. Feng Shi smiled. Lin Muyu also smiled and said, it's really not easy for us to reach where we are today. Although it's inevitable that there will be some bias when it comes to rewards, it's also unavoidable. Just take it as giving me face. There will be plenty of opportunities to make contributions in the future. Besides, no one knows what the world will be like in the future. Once the Mahayana heavenly axiom descends, we may also bid farewell to this world. That's true. What's the point of being a king? If any of you want to continue to stay in Shattered Cauldron Realm and become king, I will grant your wish. I will be more at ease leaving one of our Longdan army camp's men to guard this dimension. Wei Chou said in a low voice, milord, what are you saying? Wei Chou is willing to follow milord forever. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do. All right. Lin Muyu said, if we go to the immortal realm, we will be at ease together in Xiaoyao. If we go to my hometown, I guarantee you that you won't have to worry about food and clothing. What about me? What about me? Situ Shua asked. I can't do without you. Lin Muyu smiled and said, as long as you and General Sun are willing, we will still be working together in the future. All right, Shua will work hard in her cultivation. At this time, there was still one person who had been silent all along. It was Feng Shi. General Feng Shi, why aren't you saying anything? Lin Muyu asked. Feng Shi said respectfully, I am just an ordinary person. My cultivation cannot be compared to the other three generals. I have followed Lin General for many years, all for the sake of making contributions, bringing glory to my family, and not bringing shame to my ancestors. Therefore, if Lin General decides to leave this dimension in the future, Feng Shi is willing to be a guard and continue to protect my great Qin nation. Lin Muyu looked at him with admiration and said, I remember what you said back then. Don't worry, after the world is settled, there will definitely be a place for you to stand. Many thanks, Lin General. Come, let's drink. Let's not talk about these unhappy things. Yes. 3 days later, the Zhang family fortress was crowded with people. Today was the conferring ceremony of the 7 marshals of the empire. The small Zhang family fortress had undergone a complete transformation. Turrets and arrow towers were built around the fortress, and even the walls were reinforced. The sound of workers digging could be heard from underground. It was the sound of excavators closing the hole. According to the progress of the work, it would be completed in about 3 days. The ceremony was held on the empty space outside the fortress. On a hastily built platform, 7 imperial guards held 7 swords in their hands. These swords were mostly sacred weapons. At this time, they were renamed Yuanrong swords. Only marshals were worthy of these swords. Although they were not sacred weapons, they were symbols of power. However, there were only a few marshals present today. In fact, only Lin Muyu was present. The rest were appointed on behalf of other marshals. After the high priest finished reading the eulogy, Qin Yin, who was wearing the empress's robe, slowly walked up to the platform and began the conferring ceremony. Lin Muyu stood at the front, followed by Wei Chou. He accepted the conferring ceremony on behalf of Feng Jixing, while Situ Sen, Feng Shi, and the others accepted the conferring ceremony on behalf of Qian Feng and the others. Qin Yin looked at Lin Muyu with watery eyes and said with grace, I hereby confer Lin Muyu as the first marshal of the empire. She will be conferred the title of heaven-suppressing marshal and be conferred the title of king of Qin. Please accept the heaven-suppressing Yuanrong sword. Lin Muyu took a few steps forward, knelt on one knee, and raised both hands to receive the sword. Qin Yin accepted the sword and said with a smile, Rise, king of Qin. Thank you, your highness. Lin Muyu stood at the side with the sword in his hand. From now on, he was restored to the title of King of Qin. Originally, the title of King of Qin had been abandoned by the nation, but times had changed. Now that they were at war, they had to rely on the title of king to motivate the army. It was imperative to restore the title of King of Qin. As for the voices of opposition from the nation in Lanyan City, they couldn't care less. Anyway, they didn't have any military power, so no matter how fiercely they protested, it was useless. The conferring ceremony lasted for an entire afternoon. After the conferring of the 7 marshals, it was followed by the conferring of the 10 generals. Each of them was given a small fief. As for Lin Muyu, his fief was Wugu City. That's right, the entire Wugu City was now Lin Muyu's fief. In addition to this fief, there were also countless rewards of brocades and jewels, although Lin Muyu didn't care about these things at all. Half a day later, 2 dragon knights brought the rewards to Shiping Prefecture. Someone secretly brought the rewards to a secret underground chamber in the Imperial Garden. The rewards have arrived. One of the dragon knights carried the treasures into the secret chamber, while the other opened the imperial edict and read out the list of conferring titles. Feng Jixing, Qianfeng, Ding Shi, Xiangyu, and Tang Zhen knelt respectfully in a row to receive the conferring titles. Take this, State Marshal. The dragon knight handed a Yuanrong sword to Feng Jixing and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Your Highness Prince Xian. Your title of King of Qin has been restored. At the same time, His Highness has also given you 2 prefectures in Dubhe province as your fief." Feng Jixing smiled and said, "Thank you, Your Highness." After that, Qianfeng, Ding Shi, Xiangyu, and Tang Zhen also received their rewards. Each of them received a marshal's cloak. The craftsmanship of these cloaks wasn't considered to be too exquisite, and they couldn't make it in time due to the rush. However, they would definitely be sewn again after returning to Lanyan City, so there was no need to worry. Xiangyu held the Yuanrong sword and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Your Highnesses Prince Xian and Prince Dong. Not only are you ranked among the 7 commanders, but you've also received the title of king." There was a hint of sarcasm in his words. Clearly, Xiangyu was destined to be unconvinced. To think that even a surrendered general like Qianfeng had been conferred the title of king, while he, who had gone through hundreds of battles, was only a mere duke. However, Feng Jixing smiled faintly. Hasn't General Xiangyu been restored to his title of duke as well? The meaning behind his words was even simpler. Back then, you were inferior to me, and now, you're still inferior to me. This is an extremely normal thing. In the end, Xiangyu almost choked on his words and fell silent. He also knew that in terms of military contributions, he couldn't be compared to Feng Jixing and Qianfeng. In the Battle of Wuxia County, Feng Jixing's stratagem had defeated the kingdom of Shang's 200,000 soldiers. In the Battle of Longyuan, Qianfeng had fought a bloody battle with the kingdom of Shang's 500,000 soldiers. This was something that Xiangyu couldn't be compared to. At the end of the day, he was just a deputy general and had never really commanded a battle before. Even if he was the one in command, would he be a match for Qin Yu and Sun Shi? Not necessarily. Xiangyu was also well aware of this. Over the past 20 years, the Qin Empire had produced so many talents. Putting aside the 4 heroes of Lanyan, Wei Chou, Su Jiantao, and Situ Sun were all geniuses of the present age. Xiangyu was born at the wrong time. If it was another era, perhaps he would be one of the few famous generals. But in the end, he was born in this era, and his brilliance was naturally overshadowed by other heroes. This kind of feeling wasn't like Jiang Gan, but Zhuge Liang, Guojia, Sima Yi, Sun Yu, Su Shu, Jia Su, Lu Su, and so on. Chapter 1182. In the northern region, the wilderness was in chaos. Amidst the fluttering snow, the sound of cavalry's hooves stomping on the snowy plains shook the canyon. Yangshang rode on a fine horse, with a group of royal guards behind him. Sun Shi, Filei, Longxi, and the others stood guard at the side. In the distance, figures descended from the sky, with Demon General Theron riding a war tiger at the forefront. After the war tiger landed, it let out a loud roar, startling Yangshang and the others' mounts to retreat. However, no one dared to say anything. After all, in the kingdom of Shang, Theron's status was no longer inferior to Yangshang's. Xianxia bowed and bent his knee, all for the sake of keeping Theron and his 1,000 Mara. Using this demon god army to destroy the Qin kingdom and Tianju was his true goal. So, a pitch-black head was tossed over by Theron, rolling into the snow. This head had a ferocious expression, and the beard on its chin was tied into a small braid. This was something that only the northern region wilderness would do. This is? Xianxia was stunned. Theron said, "This is the head of the barbarian king Qiu Baihua. His barbarian army has already been defeated, and his elite battalion of 5,000 has almost been completely annihilated by us. Your Majesty Emperor Shang, can you carry out the mission of beheading Lin Muyu and Qin Yin now?" Xianxia nodded. "I didn't expect that the war to end in just 3 days. Many thanks to Demon General Theron's help, it went so smoothly. Let's rest for 2 days, then head to Red Rock City to kill Lin Muyu and Qin Yin." "All right." Theron held the war tiger's reins, smiling proudly. "After killing Lin Muyu and Qin Yin, it's time for me to leave. This plain will be left for Emperor Shang to conquer." "Yes." At this time, Sun Shi, who was behind Xianxia, narrowed his eyes. "Your Majesty, I think we should take it slow, and not directly head to Red Rock City to behead them. After all, Lin Muyu and Qin Yin still have many minions. I think we should first go to Xishan province and rely on Lord Theron's divine power to destroy Feng Jixing's troops. And help our army seize Xishan province." Xianxia said, "Unfortunately, I heard that Feng Jixing, Xiang Yu, and the others have already disappeared a few days ago. No one knows where they are hiding. Even if we go to Xishan province, I'm afraid we won't be able to find them. Besides, there are 500,000 Qin army stationed outside Shiping City. Once they are alerted, it won't be a small matter." Theron raised his war hammer and spurred the war tiger forward. The war tiger's beard swayed slowly as it sniffed at Xianxia and Sun Shi's mounts. Immediately, the mounts retreated in fright. Theron squinted his eyes and smiled. "I'm afraid this military advisor Sun Shi has misunderstood. I, Theron, did not come to Celestial Pole Continent to be your slave. I came here to kill those so-called righteous experts." Feng Jixing and Xiang Yu's strength is not worth mentioning. Do you want to use the Devil Realm's strength to kill these small fries? The only ones that are worthy of my attention are Lin Muyu, who has the supreme godhead, as well as Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi, who have the over-god godheads. They are the ones that must be killed." Sun Shi frowned and said submissively, "Lord Theron, I also heard that Lin Muyu, Qin Yin, and Tang Xiaoxi are not living in Red Rock City. Instead, they are living in a fortress outside the city called Zhang Family Castle. That fortress is not very sturdy, but it is surrounded by green mountains and clear waters. It is a good place for sightseeing. But, it is precisely because of this that I feel that there is a trap. Since Lin Muyu dares to live in the Zhang family castle so brazenly, it means that he has no fear. He must have buried many traps in the Zhang family castle, waiting for the devil gods to come and kill him. In my opinion, it is better to first understand their situation, then advance step by step and establish an invincible position." Theron couldn't help but smile. He looked coldly at Sun Shi and said, "Lord Sun Shi, do you know who I, Theron, hate the most?" "What?" "I hate those scheming and deceitful people the most. If Lord Sun Shi wants to scheme, then you can slowly do it yourself." Theron carried his war hammer and rode away on his war tiger. He said indifferently, "Tomorrow morning, the Moro army and I will leave for the Red Rock province to look for the Zhang clan fort. We will capture them, Lin Muyu, and the other 2 in one fell swoop. Your Majesty, please arrange a few people to lead the way." "Yes." Xianxia didn't dare to disobey. "Lord Longxi, Lord Filei, the 2 of you will lead the way." "Yes." Filei hesitated. "Your Majesty, Lord Wuchang is a peerless master with the title Wuji Demon God. Won't he come with us?" Wuchang smiled and didn't say anything. Xianxia said, "Tianji City is empty. I'm worried that Feng Jixing and Qin Yu will launch a sneak attack. With Wuchang around, he can at least protect Tianji City." "It's decided." Yes. Theron sneered, it seems that even the heavenly book of sealing demon can make a mistake. The dignified Wuji demon god is just a servant who guards the house. Ha 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 ha. Wu Chang's expression didn't look good, but he suppressed his anger and didn't show it. Wu Chang had obtained the demon body and the title Wuji demon god. He was already the strongest person on this continent. Even Yangshan was very respectful to him. But now, Theron came, and it seemed like he was going to take over his position. Wu Chang was very scheming and good at forbearance. Otherwise, they would have already started fighting. The next day, when dawn broke, everyone set off. Filet and Longxi each followed a dragon knight. Theron rode on a war tiger that could also ride on clouds. The rest of Mara flew into the clouds. They traveled very fast. They would arrive at Hongyan province in about half a day. They would see the legendary Xianxia Bao in the afternoon. At this time, the Xianxia Bao was almost completed. The craftsmen were painting dark blue paint on the outside of the steel walls. This color was also the main color of the Qin Empire's flag. Buzz, 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 a scout bee stopped on Lin Muyu's shoulder. It flapped its wings, and beams of light were reflected from its back. It was the scene of Theron and the others flying through the clouds at high speed. Where? Lin Muyu asked. The scout bee flapped its wings at an even faster speed. The laser on its back formed a map. It was the border between Hongyan province and Huiyuan province. It would be less than 2 hours before Theron and the others arrived at the Xianxia Bao. They came so fast. Lin Muyu stood up quickly and walked out of the room in the castle. She shouted to the people outside, Wei Chou, they will arrive in less than 2 hours. Order all the craftsmen to evacuate the main castle immediately. Ask Senior Luo Tianji to activate the wind elemental primordial stones. Everyone is ready for battle. In addition, order the soldiers in the east and west camps of the Xianxia Bao to enter the training state. Yes, Lin General. Wei Chou spurred his horse and left. Behind Lin Muyu, Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi walked out of the shadows, each holding the Donghua sword and the Zhu Rong sword of raging fire. They are finally here. Tang Xiaoxi pursed her red lips and said, otherwise, the endless waiting will be too unbearable. Yes, they are finally here. The people of the demon realm are coming. Lin Muyu gritted her teeth and said, the righteousness of heaven and earth is everlasting. I hope what the demon emperor said is right. We can only do our best, and the rest is up to God's will. Are we really going to let the 10,000 people of the Dragon League evacuate? Retreat. It's useless to have more people. If we really fail, they will only be buried with us if we let them stay here. I am not qualified to decide their life and death. Yes. Qin Yin approached the window and looked into the distance. She said, the mechanisms in the cellar are all ready. The turrets and arrow towers are also ready for battle. Everything is ready. Then prepare for the decisive battle. Lin Muyu raised her hand and pulled out the Shenyuan sword. With a low shout, she summoned a Catasaurus and flew out of the room on a Catasaurus. She turned around and said, Xiao Yin, Xiao Shi, you two guard here. I will go and distract them. We must give Theron and the others a target. Otherwise, they will start a massacre, which is not a good thing. Okay, you be careful. Don't worry. In the courtyard of the Zhang family fortress, a cool breeze was blowing. Everything seemed so quiet that it was a little abnormal, indicating that a great battle was about to come. On the arrow tower on the right side of the fortress, Wei Chou held the Hui Bao in his hand. His clear eyes were filled with battle intent. Beside him were the two great experts, Zhu Long and Nangong Lai, guarding him. In this battle, Wei Chou would be a variable. After all, the Hui Bao was too useful in battles against divine-level experts. It was not something that ordinary divine weapons could compare to. Lin Muyu urged a Catasaurus to slowly swim above the garden of the fortress. She looked up at the sky. The spiritual pulse technique had already started to fluctuate with streams of energy. Theron and the others were getting closer and closer. 50 miles. 30 miles. 10 miles. 5 miles. They're coming. As expected, streams of light burst out in the sky. It was their ability to shatter the void. However, there were many bell-absorbing rocks buried in the surroundings of the Zhang family fortress. They could also flash far away in the sky. Kiki. Sharp roars filled the sky. One by one, the Mara screamed ferociously. In the next moment, they all swooped down like blood-red meteors. However, the Mara would never have thought that there was a hidden danger in the invisible wind. Just as they rushed in, countless invisible wind saws wreaked havoc in the sky. Puff 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 puff, blood splattered everywhere. The Mara were all killed by the wind saws. Moreover, Luo Tianji had used a dense array of wind saws. Before the Mara reached the ground, they were already torn apart by the wind saws. Only less than 300 Mara managed to enter the fortress. Don't panic. Theron was far more powerful than the others. With a sweep of his war hammer, he actually forcefully shook off one of the wind saws. Then, he urged his war tiger and leaped into the fortress. For a moment, the sound of cannons rang out from all directions. The 4 main cannon turrets fired almost at the same time. The magic crystal cannons directly exploded in the group of Mara in the sky. Pang, pang, pang. Many of the injured Mara were directly blasted into pieces. Some of the stronger ones managed to escape by relying on the devil flames. One by one, they fell from the sky in flames. Bastard. At this time, even Theron was furious. With a swing of his war hammer, he rushed towards one of the cannon turrets. With a loud bang, the cannon turret was cut in half. The soldiers on the turret screamed miserably as they fell along with the magic crystal cannons. Just as Theron destroyed the second cannon turret, a dense barrage of arrows came from the arrow tower not far away. All of them were white drill arrows, and they landed on the astral wall. So, a completely different shooting sun arrow shot out like lightning. With a pang sound, it exploded on Theron's chest, causing him to feel a dull pain. Chapter 1183. Who's there? Theron roared, and the sound wave carried the power to destroy heaven and earth, destroying the arrow tower 20 meters away. Suddenly, the screams of the archers were heard, but there were also a few people who jumped onto the city wall. After a few jumps, they landed on another arrow tower, and the unpredictable arrows came again. Theron was completely enraged. He roared at the sky, Longxi, Filet, when are you going to stop watching? Mara, kill them. Destroy these turrets and arrow towers first. Yes, Lord Demon General. Mara and the others entered the uninhabited land. How could the ordinary soldiers of the Longdan army camp stop them? Rays of blood-red light ran wildly in the castle, and in the blink of an eye, the turrets and arrow towers collapsed one after another. Obviously, the outermost fortifications had lost their effectiveness, and the defense line of the turrets and arrow towers had been broken through. In the air, the 2 demon gods, Longxi and Filet, suddenly landed, and with a golden red light, they tore a group of Longdan army camp soldiers into pieces. At the same time, Lin Muyu, who was not far away, had already killed 2 Mara, and there were archers in the houses on both sides, constantly attacking Mara with white diamond arrows and arrow boxes. Although Mara was powerful, he was not indestructible, especially with the powerful explosive power of the arrow boxes. If they took too much damage, the moment the gang chi on the surface of their body collapsed would be the moment they died. Accompanied by the sound of puff, 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 Mara fell to the ground and died. Theron became even more anxious and roared, "Kill into the castle, kill everyone you see, don't hesitate." Hee, the Mara and the others entered the castle one after another. The next moment, the sounds of fighting and screams came from everywhere in the corridor and the garden. This was a bloody battle, and casualties were unavoidable. Lin Muyu had arranged a total of nearly 3,000 elites of the Longdan army camp to ambush here, but it was unknown how many of them would be able to make it out alive. Everything in the world, listen to my command. Lin Muyu, who was riding on the dragon's back, suddenly let out a low roar. The mountain force in her hands suddenly fell down, immediately pressing the three Mara into the road, causing them to scream. Although it couldn't kill them, it made them suffer unspeakably. You're Lin Muyu. Theron urged his battle tiger to fly over slowly, then he laughed out loud and said, I like your mount, weapon, and armor very much. Why don't you take the initiative to offer them to me, and I will grant you a complete corpse. Lin Muyu's eyes were cold. You are just a small fry in the devil realm. How can you be so shameless? What did you say? Lin Muyu's words just happened to stab Theron. He didn't say that Theron was just a mere demon general. In the demon world, there were countless people with a higher status than Theron. I want you to die without a burial. Theron roared angrily and swung his warhammer to attack. Lin Muyu continued to take advantage of the situation. The light in her palm flowed, borrowing the power of the wind in the air to block Theron's attack. Pung! The wind blades were all shattered, it couldn't be blocked at all. Theron's warhammer passed through the wind and brazenly smashed onto the Xianyuan sword. Suddenly, with a dang sound, Lin Muyu flew out along with her dragon. The disparity in strength couldn't be ignored. Go to hell. Theron's killing intent was awe-inspiring. His figure flashed and jumped from the back of the battle tiger. Raging flames appeared on his war hammer. This hammer strike was probably enough to kill Lin Muyu. However, before Theron's war hammer landed, a force that made him feel a chill on his back suddenly surged above his head. When he raised his head to look, he discovered that it was a majestic dragon, celestial dragon. Roar! Celestial dragon roared, and the raging flames in its mouth spat out. Wah! Theron let out a miserable groan, holding his war hammer horizontally in front of his chest to resist the invasion of the raging flames. However, the fatal thing was that not only did the celestial dragon's attack contain flames, the holes on the dragon's body opened one after another, shooting out formless dimensional wind blades. It was similar to the power of a wind saw. It could easily tear apart a god realm expert's protective barrier. Theron didn't dare to underestimate it. He hurriedly gathered all the strength in his body and with a roar, smashed his warhammer towards the celestial dragon's abdomen. Pung! The celestial dragon's huge body trembled slightly, but its sharp claws also swept across Theron's chest, almost blasting him off the back of the battle tiger. With a miserable groan, Theron continuously retreated. His face was full of shock. How is this possible? How can there be such a powerful thing in the mortal world? He naturally didn't know that the celestial dragon wasn't a true dragon, but it was much more powerful than a true dragon. This was because the celestial dragon's energy source was a wind origin stone. Which wind origin stone wasn't formed from tens of thousands of years of energy? Even the power of a god would find it hard to directly contend against the wind origin stone in the celestial dragon's body. However, at this moment, a raging flame shot down from the sky. It was Longxi. Pung! The celestial dragon's head suffered a fierce blow, and its movements also became sluggish. Although it was powerful, the celestial dragon was still a mechanical beast, not a human. It couldn't fight like a real martial artist. Longxi's arm had just been reconstructed, and his face was ashen as he roared, Lord Theron, I'll attack the top, you attack the bottom. Okay. Theron urged the battle tiger to quickly smash its warhammer towards the celestial dragon's tail, while Longxi flew at high speed, continuously releasing energy from the wind saw behind him. However, he was still unable to catch up to Longxi. On the contrary, Longxi's body was agile, and he quickly flew in a zigzag line, resulting in the wind saw directly smashing towards the celestial dragon's head. With a loud bang, the celestial dragon's head was already crooked. Good kill. Theron laughed out loud, but he was caught off guard by a sword chi coming at him from behind. It was Lin Muyu. Bastard. How could he, who was focused on fighting the celestial dragon, dodge? His body shook, and his throat was already sweet. Although Lin Muyu hadn't reached the immortal state yet, her power had already reached the highest level of the holy heaven state. With the addition of the invisible elephant and the power of the 7 luminaries, this sword attack was no weaker than a god's. Theron's demonic armor wall was already partially damaged, and now that he took this sword attack, he was instantly injured. The sword chi passed through the broken wall and left a bloody wound on his back. Damn it! Theron was a fierce general. He suddenly opened his hand and grabbed the Xianyuan sword's edge, swinging his war hammer horizontally. Die! Boom! The demonic flames were biting cold, and if Lin Muyu took this attack head-on, her body might be shattered on the spot. Thus, she could only let go of the long sword and take out the wall of the gourd to defend. Bang! With just one attack, the wall of the gourd shattered, and she and the dragon crashed into the wall of the fortress behind them. This sword is mine. Theron laughed loudly. However, within the broken tiles, Lin Muyu vomited blood, but she still smiled. Is that so? He opened his palm and activated the fire sword mantra. Instantly, the Xianyuan sword went berserk and spun rapidly. With a pu sound, the fingers on Theron's left hand were quickly crushed by the sword chi, and his entire fist disappeared instantly. This was the result of wanting a divine artifact. Ah! He roared in pain, turned around, and smashed the lower half of the celestial dragon's body with his war hammer. Finally, this celestial dragon lost its ability to fight. In the distance, the second celestial dragon was surrounded by a group of Mara led by Philae. Maras were like demons from hell, cruel and vicious. Although the celestial dragon was strong, it was gradually losing the battle. Mu, a beautiful girl, appeared next to Lin Muyu. It was Tang Xiaoxi. She quickly helped Lin Muyu up, then patted Acatosaurus's head and said, "Little apple, you're injured. Go back quickly." Awoo! Acatosaurus shook its head and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Lin Muyu looked at the situation in the fortress. The bodies of the soldiers of the Longdan army camp were everywhere. There were only a few dozens of arrow towers left, and 2 celestial dragons had been destroyed one after another. Although the plan was thorough, it could not withstand the opponent's powerful divine power. The first and second blockade had been completely broken. In the fortress, the sound of Mara chasing and killing the soldiers of the Longdan army camp could be heard everywhere. The screams were unbearable. "Where's Xiao Yin?" Lin Muyu tried to pull herself together, but her head felt a little dizzy. "She's right in front. Let's go and have a look." In the tunnel in front of them, the light rose. A bright dragon crystal blasted the body of Amara. Qin Yin was also injured, and her left arm was full of blood. "Xiao Yin," Lin Muyu hurriedly walked over and said, "Let's go. Go into the tunnel. Our line of defense has been broken. Brother Yu, are you injured?" Qin Yin hurriedly supported him on the other side. In fact, fighting Mara was easy, but fighting the war demon general was not easy. Theron's strength was far above Lin Muyu's. 2 strikes almost made Lin Muyu lose his combat power. At this time, he could not even use 30% of his strength. "Lin Muyu, don't even think of escaping. Die." Behind her, Longxi's roar could be heard. Longxi's strength was not inferior to Theron's, and the 2 of them were chasing after her. This was too terrifying. However, Lin Muyu and the other 2 quickly disappeared into the tunnel and entered the secret mechanism. Longxi roared and slashed the ground with his long sword. Bang! The whole ground cracked open, revealing a huge cellar below. When Longxi and Theron looked up, a huge rock fell down, directly bringing the 2 of them and a group of Mara down into the cellar. Situsen held a weapon embryo in his hand and roared, "They fell in. Heavenly Book, release them all." In an instant, rays of light descended from the sky. Flames, frost, wind blades, meteorites, and other powers of laws quickly wreaked havoc, mincing the boulders into pieces. Even some of the demonic luos who did not have a high level of cultivation were blasted into pieces. But in the light, there were still 2 people standing. "Get lost." Longxi punched through the air, causing Situsen to vomit blood and fall into the mess. Demonic flames burst. Longxi and Theron had already transformed into demon god form, with a sneer on their faces. They were injured but not dead, maintaining more than 60% of their strength. Longxi's smile became more ferocious. He laughed and said, "Lin Muyu, you didn't expect this, right? You set up so many traps, but in the end, you still have to die. The power of a demon god is far beyond your imagination." "Is that so?" Lin Muyu smiled faintly, and the water behind her flowed. The flying fishes had arrived. Swoosh! The flying fishes instantly swallowed Longxi and Theron's bodies, and the sound of sharp teeth biting could be heard. "Ha, eat them, ah." In the mess, Situsen could not move, but he was still laughing. However, Qin Yin frowned and said, "No, their aura did not weaken at all." The next moment, with a loud bang, the school of flying fishes was blasted into pieces, and the demonic flames surged. No one would have thought that the demonic flames were the nemesis of the flying fishes, and naturally restrained their attacks. Oh no! Tang Xiaoxi was stunned. "Stop them and protect Her Highness Yin." Lin Muyu forcibly pulled herself together, but the light of the Xianyuan sword in her hand gradually dimmed. Qin Yin moved faster. The light of the East Flower sword rotated, and beams of dragon crystals were mixed in it. She blasted them at the two. Bang, bang, bang. The attack was ineffective. The two were much stronger than Qin Yin. Pa, Longxi grabbed a dragon crystal and threw it out with a roar. Poof! Blood splattered, and Qin Yin slowly knelt on the ground. It was unknown whether she was dead or alive. Before Lin Muyu could move, Theron's war hammer came toward her. Boom! The sound of ribs breaking was very harsh. Even the Qiyu armor couldn't protect him. With a clang, the Xianyuan sword fell to the ground, but Lin Muyu had already disappeared into the darkness, leaving only a pool of blood in the air. The group of soldiers in the Longdan army camp was almost scared out of their wits. Who would dare to court death? Longxi smiled faintly. Lin Muyu and Qin Yin are already dead. What are you still holding on for? Put down your weapons. We are gods, and we don't kill innocent people. As long as you put down your weapons and surrender to us, I won't kill you. Several soldiers in the Longdan army camp even unconsciously put down their swords. But in front of the crowd, there was only one person facing them. It was Tang Xiaoxi, who was holding the Zhu Rong fire sword. She walked step by step to the front of the two, and her 9 tails swayed behind her. Her beautiful face was full of sadness. Her red lips opened slightly, and she said word by word, "I will never allow you to hurt them. Who do you think you are?" Longxi laughed out loud. "You, Tang Xiaoxi, are just a demon fox. You are just someone abandoned by your family. You are just a stray dog. What right do you have to protect them? Tell me, just because you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth?" Ha 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 ha. The huge demonic whirlwind made Tang Xiaoxi's beautiful hair messy. She cried and clenched her fists. She was so wrong that her tears flowed freely. She hated herself for being powerless. She hated herself for not being a match for the two demons in front of her. No. As tears flowed down her face, she murmured, "I want to protect them. I love them. Even if I have to risk my life, I want to protect them." "Kill her," Theron ordered. "Longxi, end this quickly." "Yes." Longxi held the sharp sword in his hand. His face was ferocious. His strength began to increase rapidly. But at this moment, the demonic clouds in the sky suddenly dispersed. A golden light shone on the ground and enveloped Tang Xiaoxi. Suddenly, a wave of warmth in the harsh winter poured into her body, making her feel very peaceful. Tang Xiaoxi raised her head and looked up at the sky. There, golden runes appeared in the sky. It was the heavenly melody scroll. The first righteous god had finally awakened. In the sky, a woman's voice with a peaceful aura came. It was Goddess Nua's sacred decree from beyond the heavens. Tang Xiaoxi, you are kind and persistent. You are brave to love and hate. You have obtained the approval of the heavenly melody scroll. Now, you are bestowed with a second-class superior god's dharma body. You are given the title of Deity of Love. You will wield the heavenly Tao of fire. I will also bestow upon you the flame of destruction. I hope that you will abandon all distractions and protect the Mahayana heavenly Tao for the sake of all living beings in the world. Swoosh! A beam of light shone down like a goddess descending from the sky. It quickly merged with Tang Xiaoxi's body. The moment she obtained the Dharma body, Tang Xiaoxi's over-god personality quickly awakened. A surge of divine power that she had never felt before rushed into her body. It was the flame of destruction that goddess Nuwa had announced. The goddess of love, Tang Xiaoxi, the first righteous god in the world. Ah! Longxi and Theron were stunned. Kill! The two of them attacked almost at the same time. However, Tang Xiaoxi was faster. In a flash, Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword pierced through Longxi's heart. Tang Xiaoxi's body spun rapidly, and her sword swept across, and Theron's head flew into the air. No one would have thought that Tang Xiaoxi could instantly kill two fiend celestials in just one round. Chapter 1184. Kill everyone, charge. Philet's hoarse voice could be heard from outside the cellar. He didn't even know about Longxi and Theron's deaths. Mara roared as they charged into the cellar. Although they suffered heavy losses, there were still nearly 100 Mara alive. Together with Philet, they were still a force that couldn't be ignored. Arrows were constantly shooting in all directions. The archers in the Longdan army camp that were hidden in the cellar never stopped shooting. Tang Xiaoxi turned around with the blood-stained Zhu Rong blazing sword and helped Qin Yin, who was lying on the ground. There was a bloodstain on Qin Yin's chest. It was a wound caused by the celestial dragon crystal. Blood kept flowing and she was barely breathing. Tang Xiaoxi was about to cry. Someone, save Xiao Yin. As she said this, she hugged Qin Yin tightly and channeled the divine power in her body into Qin Yin's body to save her signs of life. For a moment, the radiance expanded, and the image of a beautiful and bright goddess appeared behind Tang Xiaoxi. It was her love goddess Dharmakaya. The surrounding people were stunned. Situ Shui walked forward with her sword and said, Princess Shi, Great Deacon Chuyao will be here soon. You should use some of your energy to fight against Philet and those Mara. They are too strong for us. You are a god, we only have you, I know. Tang Xiaoxi looked into the darkness with her sword and murmured, Mu? Lin Muyu's bones were broken and she was bleeding non-stop. She leaned against the mess and panted desperately. Don't worry about me. Kill them all. Don't let any of them escape. Okay. Tang Xiaoxi nodded her head forcefully and with a leap, she appeared in the air above the cellar. Her entire body was emitting the divine power of the heavenly Tao of the Mahayana realm. She opened her left hand lightly, and instantly, a net of fire shot out in the air, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Tens of Mara screamed as they died tragically, their bodies charred black. Philet was a middle demon god and his strength was far inferior to that of a superior god. Moreover, Tang Xiaoxi was a Mahayana heavenly way god. Her righteous aura and the temperature of the fire made Philet feel disgusted and even fearful. Even his hand holding the sword was trembling. He was afraid. He knew that he was no match for Tang Xiaoxi, but he had no other choice but to fight. Pfft! Zhu Rong's sacred fire sword swept past. Tang Xiaoxi's figure seemed to have dissipated in an instant. But in the next moment, she rapidly gathered her sword and pierced through Philet's body. Philet's body was split into two. His body was incessantly burning and turned into a purplish-red mist. Miserable screams could be heard. The demon god's death was not a pretty sight. Tang Xiaoxi didn't stop in the slightest. Her entire body was like a fiery red butterfly that fluttered in purgatory, and she either slashed with her sword or crushed with her imposing aura as she killed all the evil gods in the cellar. Coupled with the assistance of Wei Chou, Zhu Long, Feng Zhanlin, and the others, there wasn't a single living fiend god in the Zhang clan fortress in the blink of an eye. It was even to the extent that none of the 1,000 evil gods that Theron had brought over had survived, as they'd been completely annihilated. My lord. My lord. Save Her Highness. Wei Chou carried a torch and searched the corners of the cellar. Meanwhile, Chu Yao had already begun to staunch Qin Yin's bleeding and awaken her dormant consciousness. In the depths of the cellar, Lin Muyu's entire body was embedded in a pile of broken rocks. The Qiyu armor was slightly deformed, and it was precisely because of this that he managed to escape death. Otherwise, he would have been cut into two. Don't touch him. Tang Xiaoxi looked at Lin Muyu with her pale golden eyes and said with distress, almost all of Mu's ribs are broken. Moving him like this will probably cause a second injury. It'll be terrible if the ribs pierce through his organs. Wei Chou panicked. Then what should we do? Smash the rocks and let him lie on the stretcher. Yes. Tang Xiaoxi gently placed her palm on the rocks, and the huge rocks immediately cracked open. Lin Muyu's body naturally lay flat on the ground. Wei Chou hurriedly ordered 2 soldiers to carry him on a stretcher, and 2 medical officers from the spiritual medicine department looked after him. Are they all killed? Lin Muyu asked miserably. The corner of his mouth was full of blood. Yes. Tang Xiaoxi nodded. That's good. I can also sleep for a while. As soon as he said that, his consciousness blurred, and he fell into a deep sleep. Tang Xiaoxi's eyes reddened. Set up camp outside the Zhang family fortress. Let Mu and Xiao Yin recuperate on the spot. Deploy troops to guard the surroundings. The crisis of the demon god has been resolved, but the crisis of the god has yet to be resolved. Yes. The Zhang family fortress was practically in ruins. The hastily built turrets and arrow towers were mostly destroyed. Zhelong's corpse was also lying in the courtyard. The original fake mountains and flowing water were also destroyed. It was a complete mess. But fortunately, the huge threat from the north was temporarily resolved. The corpses of Longxi and Theron were the proof. Even Theron's battle tiger was imprisoned in a metal cage, guarded by soldiers. This battle tiger was not simple. If not for Tang Xiaoxi, no one would have been able to subdue it. The stars shone brightly in the night. The camp had almost become a camp for wounded soldiers. The strong smell of medicine permeated the air. In the tent, Lin Muyu's wounds were already bandaged. His body was also wrapped in splints. He couldn't move at all, just like a dumpling. Not far away was Qin Yin's bed. She had been unconscious since she was injured. Lin Muyu turned his head with all his might. He wanted to see Qin Yin's condition, but Si Kong Yao turned his head and said, Her Highness's wounds have stopped bleeding. Sister Chu Yao used the best medicine and healing methods. Don't worry, she will wake up soon. Speaking of which, your injuries are more serious. Don't move around. But why is she still not awake? How would I know? I'm not a medical officer. At this moment, Qin Yin suddenly coughed violently. Not far away, Chu Yao, who was sorting out the medicinal ingredients, hurried over and helped Qin Yin up. She said gently, Your Highness, how do you feel? Brother Yu. Xiao Shi and the others. Qin Yin's face was pale. She seemed to be having a nightmare. I dreamed of them. As she spoke, tears flowed out of her eyes. They are fine. Chu Yao said softly, Yu is injured, but Xiao Shi is unscathed. Don't worry, Xiao Shi has already obtained the Dharmakaya and become the Mahayana heavenly Taoist god. If not for her, I'm afraid everyone would have died. Look, Yu is on the bed over there. Qin Yin hurriedly sat up and walked over shakily. But when she saw Lin Muyu's miserable state, she couldn't help but feel sad. Brother Yu, I'm sorry. Lin Muyu couldn't move her body. She said, quickly lie down. You need to rest more. Don't move around. At this moment, a gentle breeze carried a beautiful and graceful figure into the tent. It was Tang Xiaoxi. She smiled in surprise. Xiao Yin, you're awake? That's great. As she spoke, she rushed over and hugged Qin Yin. Qin Yin was also very happy. Xiao Shi, you're a god now? Tang Xiaoxi gently hugged her divine power unknowingly overflowed a little to help her recover. She said, you don't have to worry now, I'll protect everyone. Even if Wushang comes, there's no need to be afraid. Xiao Yin, lie down quickly. I just went to cook some soup for you and Mumu to help you recover from your injuries. You'll feel much better after drinking it. Lin Muyu, let's see Kong Yao prop her head up. She said, Xiao Shi, have all the invaders been taken care of? Yes. Very good. Lin Muyu was very pleased and said, that's a huge burden that's been hanging in your heart has finally been lifted. How do you feel now? Compared to the great perfection Celestial Emperor, is the Mahayana heavenly path righteous God or the Celestial Emperor stronger? Incomparable. How so? Tang Xiaoxi leisurely said, the Celestial Emperor realm is pure strength. Regardless of the state of mind, it can be achieved through cultivation. But the Mahayana heavenly Tao is different. I was willing to use my life to protect you and Xiao Yin in a moment of desperation. That's why I was recognized by the heavenly melody scroll. When I obtained the Dharmakaya, I saw many things. The vicissitudes of life, the joys and sorrows of partings, life and death. Perhaps the Mahayana heavenly Tao's God is the true God. Those with distracting thoughts cannot pry into the Mahayana heavenly Tao. In terms of strength, the Mahayana heavenly Tao is far superior to the perfect celestial emperor. At least that's what I think now. As she spoke, Tang Xiaoxi smiled. Xiao Yin, I'm feeling very happy now. It's like I've been reborn. From today onwards, I will keep my temper in check and become a fair and impartial god. However, Lin Muyu was a little worried. Since the heavenly melody scroll has recognized you, then, does the Mahayana heavenly Tao have some decree for you to carry out? No. Tang Xiaoxi smiled with her bright eyes. Are you worried that the Mahayana heavenly Tao will give me other tasks and I might leave you and Xiao Yin? Lin Muyu nodded lightly. Don't worry. Tang Xiaoxi smiled with her dimples. The moment I was conferred a god, I only thought of you and Xiao Yin. I think the Mahayana heavenly Tao knows my feelings and won't separate us. That's good. Let's not talk about it. I'm making soup for you. I can't let the soup boil. I'll be back soon. As she spoke, Tang Xiaoxi disappeared from the tent. This time, it was Wei Chou who walked in. Lin Muyu knew it was time to talk business. She asked, what was the final result of the Zhang family fortress battle? Did we suffer heavy losses? Wei Chou cupped his fists. More than 1,000 Mara and a few demon gods were killed. Their corpses are piled up in the camp. As for our losses, a total of more than 2,300 Longdan army camp elites died in battle. More than 400 were gravely injured. The remaining few hundred suffered light injuries. Dozens of Dragon League experts also died in battle. Nangong Lai, Zhulong Tianqing, and the others were injured. In addition, General Sun was gravely injured and is currently receiving treatment. Is General Sun alright? Don't worry, there's no danger to his life. Wei Chou looked up at Lin Muyu. My lady, what should we do next? Keep quiet, or there's no need to hold back. Lin Muyu heaved a sigh of relief. Cut off the heads of Longxi and Theron. Order someone to send them to Tianji City and offer them to Yangshang. Yes. Chapter 1185. The soup Tang Xiaoxi made was the legendary Jiuling deer bone soup. The Jiuling deer was a very rare spirit beast. It was said that the bone soup made with it had a very magical effect on healing injuries and bone regeneration. No one knew where she got this treasure. Soon, 2 large bowls of steaming deer bone soup were placed in front of Lin Muyu and Qin Yin. Drink it quickly. I'll supervise you. Tang Xiaoxi sat on the bed and said like a lady. Qin Yin couldn't help smiling. Thank you, Xiao Shi. Thank you for your trouble. Don't mention it. Drink it quickly, or it'll get cold. Okay. Lin Muyu couldn't move his arm, so Tang Xiaoxi fed him personally. However, he didn't cooperate. The soup spilled all over his neck, which made Lin Muyu grimace. We don't have a tacit understanding. It's all your fault. You didn't open your mouth when you should. With that, Tang Xiaoxi quickly helped him wipe it off, and then said, How is it? Is my divine power helpful to the recovery of the injury? It seems to be, once. That's good. Tang Xiaoxi thought for a moment and said, I'll ask someone to put the two beds together later. Tonight, the three of us will sleep together. I'll accompany you all night and use the divine power of the Mahayana of Heaven's Way to speed up the recovery of your injuries. The Qin Empire can't always be without a backbone. It won't do if both of you fall. Okay. Lin Muyu was a little excited, but when he thought that his upper body was wrapped in splints, he immediately gave up the idea. Deep into the night, the cold wind was blowing outside the tent. One could faintly hear the sound of horse hooves galloping to and fro, as well as the sound of some patrolling soldiers exchanging commands. The tent was guarded by two experts from the Dragon League, so there was no need to worry. What made Lin Muyu feel more at ease was that Tang Xiaoxi was lying on the side, and there was a Mahayana heavenly Tao god guarding her, so no one would dare to come. In the middle of the night, Qin Yin fell into a deep sleep due to her injuries. Tang Xiaoxi's eyes widened. She gently touched the splint on Lin Muyu's chest and asked softly, Does it hurt? It doesn't hurt too much. Lin Muyu lay on her back, looking at the slowly swaying tent, and said, The battle between the gods and demons can be considered to have come to an end. Yangshang should also be quiet for a period of time, and can finally rest. Xiao Shi, do you also think that the ambush I set in the Zhang family castle was too rash? If it weren't for you, I'm afraid we would have been wiped out. I won't. Tang Xiaoxi said softly, I know you don't want to exchange the lives of ordinary soldiers for the lives of the demonic gods. You are a competent commander, but you don't know how to take care of yourself. I'm sorry, I don't blame you. In the darkness, Tang Xiaoxi stroked his arm, suddenly raised her head, and a warm kiss fell on Lin Muyu's lips. He couldn't move his whole body, but he felt Tang Xiaoxi's tongue responding softly, and her graceful body slowly became hot. She gently turned over and sat on his waist, leaning her body on him, and continued to intoxicated kiss. After a long while, the two separated. Tang Xiaoxi said softly in the darkness, I love you, we will always be together, don't separate, okay? Of course, I love you too. Lin Muyu opened her eyes to look at her, and whispered, I'm sorry, I can't give you a complete love. Tang Xiaoxi smiled softly, it's okay, I'm content. Moreover, the one sharing with me is Xiao Yin and I are like sisters, and we are originally one. Even if it's not you, maybe we will marry someone else. I don't like what you said, only you, it's all because of you. Tang Xiaoxi kissed him again. Lin Muyu didn't know what the heavenly law of Mahayana was, and she didn't know how profound the heavenly law of Mahayana was, but she knew that Tang Xiaoxi, who got the Dharmakaya, loved even more fiercely. Perhaps it was just like what Goddess Nuwa said in her announcement, Tang Xiaoxi dared to love and hate, and this was her nature. She fell in love with him, and this was a gift from God, a blessing for eternal life. Some were happy, and some were sad. 3 days later, the Tianji Palace in Tianji City was silent. 2 huge wooden boxes were presented in the main hall. What's this? Yangshang asked. The commander of the Imperial Guard said respectfully, Your Majesty, someone in front of the Imperial City said he wanted to present this to Your Majesty. We originally wanted to capture him, but we didn't expect this person to come and go without a trace. In the blink of an eye, he went far away, so we could only bring these things here. Aren't you afraid of something that kills people? Sun Shi said lightly. I have seen it, it's not something that kills people. Your Majesty will know when you see it, the commander of the Imperial Guards took a few steps back, and he seemed to be afraid of the things in the box. Sun Shi said coldly, Lord Theron, Longxi, and Filei went to Hongyan province, and there was no news from them. Now, these 2 boxes came, and I don't know what kind of trick it is. Wuji demon god, your cultivation is the highest, why don't you take a look? Wu Chang's eyes were calm, and he walked forward. He waved his hand lightly, and the lids of the 2 wooden boxes flew up. The officials looked at them, and in the next moment, their faces turned pale with fright. In the boxes were the heads of Theron and Longxi. Who would have thought that these 2 powerful demon gods could be killed? Wu Chang, Yang Shang's eyes were cold, and he said, it seems that the legend is true. The door to the Mahayana heavenly Tao has been opened, and the news that Tang Xiaoxi obtained a righteous god's dharma body is true. If not, a demon general like Lord Theron would not have died in battle, Wu Chang said. Your Majesty, Theron also brought 1,000 Mara, and they were all demon gods with demonic bodies. Not a single Mara came back to report, which means that Mara's army has been wiped out. This Tang Xiaoxi is just a righteous god. What kind of power does she have to be able to kill more than 1,000 demon gods? This matter, analyzed in essence, doesn't make sense. If we add Lin Muyu, I'm afraid it makes sense. The one who spoke was Sun Shi. Wu Chang narrowed his eyes. Oh. Why do you think so, military advisor? I heard that the Western barbarians of the Shattered Cauldron realm are very scheming, and they can invent deicide cannon, white drill arrow, and the like. In addition, Lin Muyu was once a god and brought out some ingenious gadgets from the primordial mystic realm. Also, during the Battle of Sheeping City, they had weapons that could strangle dragon knights in the air. These could all be used as an ambush for Lin Muyu. Theron and Longxi underestimated their enemy, and with Tang Xiaoxi who ascended to the Mahayana heavenly Tao, it is not surprising that they were defeated. Wu Chang was silent, and he could not refute. However, Yang Shang said, Lord Sun Shi, what do you think the kingdom of Shang should do now? Sun Shi said, Your Majesty, originally, if we advance step by step, we could use Theron's 1,000 Mara to take down Sheeping City first, and then advance south, not falling into Lin Muyu's trap. We could fully utilize Mara's battle strength, and perhaps we could sweep the Western barbarians from the celestial continent within 3 months. But now, Mara's advantage is no longer there. The current situation is that the enemy is stronger than us, so, lying low and diplomacy is the best way. Your Majesty also knows that Qin Yu used Song Liangqing to kill Lin Muyu's general, Jian Tao, in the Battle of Red Cliff City. Lin Muyu hates Qin Yu to the bone. As long as we sit back and watch the Qin and Celestial Empire go to war, we will be invincible. The key is that Lin Muyu is not a fool. Will he formally declare war against Qin Yu? Yang Shang said indifferently, Don't forget, Lin Muyu has already occupied Red Cliff City for more than 2 months. The Longdan army camp and the Baizei mercenaries stationed in Red Cliff City are only 3 days' journey from Song Liangqing's army, but Lin Muyu has yet to use force. How can such a person who is good at enduring easily declare war against Qin Yu? Your Majesty, Lin Muyu may be able to endure, but Qin Yu may not be able to. Why do you say so? Very simple. Sun Shi smiled and said, Qin Yu has already stockpiled a large amount of provisions and troops in Scorching Han City. Now, the troops that Qin Yu has gathered are no less than those of the Qin traders. He needs a breakthrough point. And the Huiyuan province between our 3 countries is the best springboard. Only by entering the Huiyuan province can the troops of Scorching Han City attack the kingdom of Shang in the north and the Qin kingdom in the east. And there is only one way to get Qin Yu's troops to enter the Huiyuan province. What way? The Qin kingdom and the kingdom of Shang will fight it out. Sun Shi said in a low voice, Only when the 2 of us fight will Qin Yu use this springboard to enter the Huiyuan province. Your Majesty can send a strong force to pretend to attack Sheeping City and pretend to be engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Jixing's troops. This way, Qin Yu will definitely enter the Huiyuan province. When Qin Yu's troops enter the Huiyuan province, the troops of our great Shang will quickly retreat. Then, we can sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, watching the Qin traders and Tianju fight it out. Wu Chang couldn't help but laugh. Lord Sun Shi, why do you think that Qin Yu will definitely fight it out with the Qin kingdom? I don't think that Qin Yu will definitely attack the Qin kingdom, but the Qin kingdom will definitely attack Tianzhu. Why? Yang Shang was a little surprised. Sun Shi said lightly, Your Majesty, the Qin people have strict military laws and are known for their iron-blooded military spirit. After the Battle of Jianlongjuan, most of their dead were buried under the Green Mountains outside Jianlongjuan and a national monument was set up. Even Su Jintao's body was buried under the national monument. Once Qin Yu's troops enter the Huiyuan province, our army can secretly send a troop to change into the Celestial Empire's military uniform and destroy and dig up the national monument wantonly so that the dead of the Qin army cannot rest in peace. Under such circumstances, do you think that Feng Jixing will be able to resist and not declare war on Qin Yu? Yang Shang couldn't help but take a deep breath. This is indeed a vicious plan. Wu Chang was rather disdainful. A despicable person's trick to disturb the dead, isn't that too despicable? A great man can't be ruthless. Haven't Wuji demon god heard of this saying? Sun Shi's eyes carried a cold smile. Lin Muyu led the Qin army into the territory of our great Shang dynasty and repeatedly used tricks to defeat our army. Let me ask you, which of the tricks used by Lin Muyu is not a vicious one? War is like this, where is there any benevolence to speak of? Yang Shang slapped the dragon table and said, Let's follow Lord Sun Shi's plan. Wu Shang was silent for a few seconds and said to himself, His Majesty was originally the Marshal of the Northern Heaven Realm, a righteous and upright person. Who would have thought that he would become a scoundrel who overturns rivers and seas? A chill shot out of Yang Shang's eyes, but he didn't say anything. At this moment, it was not the time to move against Wu Chang. Chapter 1186. 8 Wasteland World. Clouds covered the sky, covering everything on the ground, including most of the light from the sun and the moon, making the land very dark. Amidst the overlapping lightning vines, the 7 luminaries demon emperor closed his eyes. His arms seemed to have grown together with the vines. His long hair was tied behind his back like withered vines, and his feet were tied up by the vines, making him unable to move. Ha ha ha, Amara flapped his wings and held a sharp spear in his hand as he stopped in front of the 7 luminaries demon emperor. He used his spear to pry open the vines and looked at the 7 luminaries demon emperor's appearance. He laughed in a sharp voice and said, 7 luminaries demon emperor, did you hear that? A Mahayana heavenly Tao god has appeared in the mortal world. Her name is Tang Xiaoxi, ha 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 ha, what a beautiful name. I heard that you know her, and the demon world is about to use the god-destroying tower filled with your power to kill this god. How do you feel? The eyebrows of the 7 luminaries demon emperor trembled violently, and instantly, the entire lightning vine mountain shook violently. The group of Mara was instantly shocked and said, What's going on? What's going on? Does this guy still want to struggle? Humph, his power has long been exhausted, and this lightning vine is a cage woven by the demon world's original spirits. A mere depraved god like him won't be able to do much. Don't worry, maybe it's just the demon world's crust shaking. As expected, the vine mountain gradually quietened down, and the 7 luminaries demon emperor also stopped moving. He stood quietly in the vine, and only the corners of his mouth revealed a strong killing intent. In East Heaven, without the protection of spiritual power, the heavenly court was already covered in cobwebs and dust. At this time, hundreds of Mara were wreaking havoc on the spiritual mountain with all kinds of weapons. There were bloodstains everywhere, and many depraved gods had already been killed. They were only heaven realm and holy domain cultivators, how could they be a match for the fierce Mara? At the peak of the spiritual mountain, a majestic palace stood there, and it was filled with depraved gods. They were all once generals of East Heaven. Ziyao, who was dressed in a snow-white robe, stood at the entrance of the palace with a long sword in her hand. She looked faintly at the devil Luo who was wreaking havoc in the distance and said, Guard the Hall of Great Accomplishment, this is our last hope. We must not let them attack us, otherwise the Eastern Heaven realm will be destroyed. At the side, Sun Feng was bandaging his own wounds. His leg had been pierced by a long spear and was bleeding non-stop. He was once a valiant general of the Eastern Heaven Realm, but now he was injured by a mere Mo Luo. Is there news from the Ba Huang domain? Asked Qing Ping. Qing Ping asked. No. Xiao shook her head, and bit her red lips. My senses are very weak, and I can't see the situation in 8 Wasteland Realm at all, but I believe that Demon Emperor will not die. He will not. Sun Feng frowned. Tang Xiaoxi has already ascended to become the first Mahayana heavenly Tao god. She should immediately come to the Heaven Realm to protect East Heaven Realm and save the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. No, Xiao, she can't protect herself. Xiao murmured, there are so many demon gods in Shattered Cauldron Realm. There is Wu Chang as a superior god, Longxi, Filei, and others as middle demon gods. Xiao, she can't deal with so many opponents, let alone come to East Heaven Realm. Sigh. Sun Feng was annoyed. Can we only stay in this corner now? In your dreams. Qingping said, Mo Luo is about to attack the mountain. We might be able to defend against the first round of attacks, but we might not be able to defend against the second round. Hurry up and mobilize all your men. Once the Hall of Great Accomplishment falls, we will truly be doomed. Yes, Sun Feng tightened his bandages and stood up. Looking into the distance, he took a deep breath and said, Mo Luo seems to have increased his troops again. There are even a few demon general-level beasts among them. Looks like the demon world is getting serious. They have been serious for a long time. In the demon world, there was a dark and damp mountain range that was closely connected to each other. Within a few hundred miles, there was nothing but lush greenery. Nothing could be seen except the undulating mountains, and the winged Mara flying among the clouds on the mountain peak. These winged Mara were cruel and ruthless. They would kill anyone they saw with ancient bows and arrows. They would only show mercy when they met people from the demon world. On the winding mountain path, a group of people walked in a zigzag manner. At the front was the demon general Ziyan, who was holding a purple-red sharp sword in his hand. Following closely behind was a slightly petite person from the demon world. She was wearing a black cloak and wore a flashing demon world emblem on her chest. An exquisite sword hilt was revealed at the part where the cloak split. It was the silhouette of the Qiyue sword. Lord Shiyan, please try to suppress your aura. Ziyan said in a low voice, the weaker your divine aura, the more you can deceive the Mara's nose. Also, why didn't you sprinkle some of the incense I gave you? Shiyan said indifferently, that incense is extremely smelly, yet you call it incense. Do the people of the demon world have a problem with their nose? Ziyan let out a bitter laugh. The demon world is like another purgatory in the human world. There's no fragrance, only a fierce aura and the stench from the depths of the demon souls. I know that the angels of the Western Divine Realm hate this kind of smell the most, but there's nothing we can do about it. We're about to enter the Fekta Temple. Please sprinkle some incense. Otherwise, given the ancient demon emperor's cultivation, I'm afraid he'll be able to smell your scent long ago. All right then. I've already thrown away the incense. Do you have any more? Yes. Help me sprinkle it. Shi Yan stood still. Ziyan raised his arm and the purple particles in a small bottle fell on Shi Yan's body like a drizzle. Shi Yan immediately sneezed a few times and frowned in displeasure. Please bear with it, Lord Shi Yan. Don't say any more. Let's go, it stinks. Yes. When the blood moon was halfway up the mountain, Ziyan, Shi Yan and the others had already crossed 2 mountains and were about to reach the Heaven Jewel mountain range where the Fekta temple was located. The Heaven Jewel mountain range was extremely vast and there were dense blood clouds above it. Shi Yan looked up and could not help but be slightly surprised. The blood clouds here are so dense. Ziyan could not help but laugh. Lord, those aren't clouds. You'll know once you take a closer look. Oh. Shi Yan narrowed her eyes. When she took a closer look, she realized that the clouds were made up of small individuals. They were all ferocious 2-winged Mara. They carried their weapons and flew in the same direction. They looked like blood clouds spiraling in the air. It was extremely terrifying. Oh my god, are they all Mara? Shi Yan was stunned. Yes, they are the two-winged Mara's army. Ziyan smiled faintly. There's an old saying in the demon world that goes, barefoot servants and winged soldiers. A large number of demon world citizens are just servants, but once they absorb demonic chi and grow wings to become two-winged Mara, they will become soldiers of the demon world and break away from the lowest level of demon world society. These are the two-winged Mara's army that guards the Fekta temple. They also belong to His Majesty the Eternal Demon Emperor. I heard that. There are more than 8 million of them. Shi Yan took a deep breath and felt a chill in her heart. Since when did the demon world raise so many minions? Hundreds of thousands of years. Ziyan said, there hasn't been a civil war in the demon world for hundreds of thousands of years. The Mara only feed on demonic chi and their numbers have never been controlled. Just the Eternal Demon Emperor alone has tens of millions of Mara's army. If we include the armies of the other 3 holy emperors, the demon world's army will probably number more than 50 million. What are you trying to do by training so many Mara's army? Shi Yan said faintly. What can we do? Ziyan laughed self-deprecatingly. Just like in the legends, the demon world only wants to destroy the world and become the ruler of all things. You've seen it for yourself. In ancient times, the righteous gods used their cultivation to seal the demon world and even let a giant beast called the Dark Servant devour the entire space of the demon world. They didn't want the demon world to exist at all, so the holy emperor of the demon world is naturally filled with anger and hatred. Now that the time is finally ripe, the demon world will let the whole world feel their malevolence and anger. Shi Yan fell silent. Just then, a beam of light suddenly shone from the Fekta temple in the distance. It was extremely scorching. What is that? Shi Yan suddenly turned around and hid behind a rock. However, the scorching light was still extremely hot and she almost couldn't breathe. It's the light of the god-destroying tower. Ziyan shouted in a low voice, block this light, don't let the god-destroying tower discover Lady Shi Yan. Yes. The group of Maras gathered together. They were not afraid of the fierce light of the god-destroying tower. After all, power came from the source and they even enjoyed being bathed in the light of the god-destroying tower. A huge figure suddenly appeared above the Fekta temple. It was a demon with silver horns on his head and was clad in shining armor. His eyes were disdainful and he was insufferably arrogant. He asked in a thunderous voice, Ziyan, what are you doing in the Fekta temple? Ziyan hurriedly knelt down and said, Your Highness Demon Emperor, have you forgotten? I guard the Ziyan crack and return to the Fekta temple every 6 months to report on my work. I also bring the spawned Maras back to replenish Your Highness' army. Here, I have brought back 300 Maras for Your Highness to inspect. The image of the ancient demon emperor smiled and said, Very well, you may do it. Yes. When Ziyan got up, the demon figure above the Fekta temple instantly disappeared. Shi Yan slowly got up and her heart was pounding. The ancient demon emperor could actually use his divine power to summon such a huge body. His cultivation was most likely higher than hers. The holy emperors of the demon world were indeed not simple. This was more troublesome. Seeing that Shi Yan was hesitating, Ziyan said, Lady Shi Yan, it's not too late to stop now. No. Shi Yan shook her head. I will never compromise. Didn't I say that I will enter the Fekta temple in disguise and find Eva's Yuan spirit? I will not clash with the ancient demon emperor. That's good. Let's go. Okay. Shi Yan looked in the direction of the Fekta temple and said, then the god-destroying pagoda. Ziyan seemed to have guessed what she was going to say and smiled. That's right, the god-destroying pagoda is the #1 divine weapon in the demon world and is owned by the ancient demon emperor. It will also be the weapon that the demon emperor uses to deal with the gods above Jin. Jin, Shi Yan frowned and said, forget it, let's go. We have to hurry. Yes. Chapter 1187. The Fekta temple was heavily guarded. There were close to 100,000 Mara demons stationed at the foot of the mountain, and there were 5 checkpoints in total. However, with Ziyan's protection, Shi Yan managed to sneak past all of them. These 5 checkpoints are known as the 5 layers of heaven. Ziyan walked forward slowly and said calmly, after the 5 layers of heaven are 1,000 steps that lead straight to the Fekta temple. It is known as the 1,000 chasms in the demon realm. No matter what you see on the 1,000 chasms, do not speak or pay attention to it. Otherwise, you might be seen through. Lady Shi Yan, do you understand? Yes, I understand. Ziyan walked up the steps while Shi Yan followed closely behind. The steps were long and wide. The light was dim and even the stone steps on both sides were shrouded in darkness. However, Shi Yan could sense an extremely ferocious aura. Roar roar, low roars came from the darkness. Shi Yan only took a glance and saw a pair of eyes that shone like lanterns. They were giant beasts from the demon realm. Ziyan said in a low voice, "Don't look at them. Those are bone-devouring beasts, the pets of His Majesty Demon Emperor Mara. Once the bone-devouring beasts discover your inner betrayal, they will see through you and you will be hunted down by Mara's army." Shi Yan nodded. She seemed to have sensed the intentions of those beasts during that hurried glance. Those pairs of eyes were like traps that lured people to tell the truth. However, who was Shi Yan? She was the strongest seraph in the Western Divine Realm. Her footsteps were steady and she clenched her fists tightly as she followed Ziyan toward the Fekta temple. Not far ahead, the stone steps suddenly broke, and a purple demonic flame soared into the sky from below. Ziyan said in a low voice, "We have arrived at the cliff. There are about 100 steps in the middle. The impact of the devil flame replaces the stone steps. In fact, stepping down is the same, but you will have to bear the baptism of the devil flame. However, for the people of the devil world, it is like a happy bath. Madam Shi Yan, you have to endure the burning of the devil flame, can you? Don't talk. Just keep walking. I can do it." "Yes." As they continued forward, when Shi Yan stepped onto the demonic flames, she immediately felt as if she had stepped into a sea of fire. However, she gritted her teeth and endured it. She could only endure it so that she would not give herself away. Otherwise, she would be easily seen through. Who knew how many pairs of eyes were staring at them in the darkness? On the other hand, when Ziyan and the group of Mara walked past the cliff, they looked as if they were the owners of a bathing center. When Shi Yan walked past the 100 stone steps, she could not help but take a deep breath. She could not use her divine power to resist the devil flame because the fluctuation of her aura would attract the attention of others. She could only rely on her flesh and blood to resist the devil flame. Her feet were burning, but she could only grit her teeth and endure it. Ziyan continued walking and said in a low voice, "Next is the inspection of the devil guards. Once we pass this test, we can enter the Fekta temple." "Inspection by the devil guards?" "Yes, these devil guards are all at the devil general level. They are the minions of the eternal demon emperor. Madam Shi Yan, please use the mask of nothingness that I gave you. Only the mask of nothingness can deceive the eyes of these devil guards." "Okay." Unknowingly, a layer of indistinct cyclone appeared on Shi Yan's face and transformed into another face. It was Mara's face, hideous and terrifying. "Raise your head." A few fiend guards stepped forward and berated loudly. Ziyan raised his head and said, "What's wrong? Don't you recognize me?" "Oh, so it's Demon General Ziyan. Are you here to debrief?" "Yes, I've brought along some new soldiers." "Heh, so many. It seems like you've plundered quite a lot in the lower domain." "Yes, yes." At this moment, a devil guard suddenly stretched out his hand and blocked Shi Yan's path. "You, raise your head." Shi Yan raised her head, her heart filled with apprehension. It would be troublesome if she was recognized. However, the other party did not seem to see through the mask of nothingness's disguise. He smiled faintly and said, "This Mara looks malnourished. He needs to absorb more devil flame in order to be of service to the demon world. That's right, that's right. He'll definitely have something to eat in the Fekta temple. Ziyen said, then can we go over? Go ahead and hand Mara over to the examiner. You can stay in the Fekta temple for the night and debrief tomorrow morning. Yes. After entering the main hall, Xian was somewhat astonished. Only after entering did she realize how enormous the Fekta temple was. It was even more majestic than the main hall in the Western Divine Realm back then. A group of hundreds of people walked into the main hall and they seemed extremely small. Deep in the main hall, there was the sound of gears turning and the passageways in front of them were changing like Rubik's cubes. There was no ground in front of them, only an empty void. Ziyen said loudly, I'm Demon General Ziyen of the Ziyen Crevice. I've led the troops to deliver this to His Majesty, Demon Emperor. Please let us through. In the air, an elderly voice sounded, wait a moment. Not long after, the sound of gears became louder and louder. In the distance, two black undulating passageways could be seen. The elderly voice said, troops, take the left passageway. Debriefers, take the right passageway. Yes. Under Ziyan's signal, Mara walked onto the left passageway and crawled on it, looking extremely afraid. Ziyan shot a glance at Xian and said, let's go, we'll take the right passageway. When the two of them stepped onto the passageway, the black boulder gradually rose and sent them to the Fekta Temple's residence. In the distance, a cubicle space appeared around the main hall. That was the residence. Debriefers were not qualified to have an audience with the Demon Emperor and had to leave after staying for a night. However, Xian's gaze was fixed in the distance. On the right side of the Fekta Temple, there was a towering mountain peak with a dazzling pearl on it. Upon closer inspection, one would realize that it was not a pearl but a divine weapon. It was a vast ancient pagoda that was layered and changed endlessly. It was suffused with a faint demonic luster. It was the god-destroying pagoda. In front of the god-destroying pagoda, a person sat there in dazzling armor. It was the ancient demon emperor. He was actually personally guarding the god-destroying pagoda. Where's Eva? Xian said softly. Don't be anxious, let's observe first. Not long after, the two of them were sent to a cubicle outside the Fekta temple. It was a room with a large bed, some food and fruits. The treatment of a demon general was not bad. After entering the room, they could still see the light of the god-destroying pagoda on the Fekta peak in the distance. However, it was separated from the outside world by a layer of crystal glass. Ziyen said softly, my lord, don't be anxious, let's wait quietly. I heard that the ancient demon emperor enters the earth's core to absorb the purest demonic chi every night. At that time, only the Holy King will be guarding the god-destroying pagoda. According to the days, the one guarding the god-destroying pagoda should be the Qilin Holy King. When that time comes, my lord Xian, you can stall the Qilin Holy King while I steal the broken sword at the side of the god-destroying pagoda and leave the Fekta temple with Lady Eva's primordial spirit. You can look for me after you get rid of the Qilin Holy King. Can you do it alone? Xian was rather doubtful. I can, please believe in me. Okay, time trickled by. After midnight, the ancient demon emperor's figure suddenly disappeared and was replaced by a demon expert in red Qilin armor. It was the legendary Qilin Holy King. His strength was not bad, although he was far from the ancient demon emperors. It's time for us to take action. Xian's palm glowed with a faint radiance. She wiped it lightly on the transparent wall and a hole was immediately burned on the crystal. Cold wind blew in. She glanced at Ziyen and said, if you can save Eva, I will definitely repay you generously. Ziyen cupped his fists and said, my lord, what are you saying? I just don't want to continue doing evil. Okay, let's go. A stream of light shot out from the densely packed square room and turned into a dazzling radiance. The moment the Chiwa sword was unsheathed, half of the Fekta temple flickered. Who's there? The Qilin Holy King roared angrily. A long blade appeared in his hand and he slashed at Xian. However, Xian's speed was faster. She spread her 6 wings and swept her sword horizontally, creating waves of sword chi. It was the first strike of Shi Yan's 7 strikes, split. Pung! Saint King Qilan was obviously no match for him. He was forced to retreat. His ferocious nature burst forth as he roared, "I'm going to kill you." The Chiwe's sword danced and light shone again. The 5th strike, release. Boom! Under the baptism of the law of light, the Qilan Holy King wailed endlessly and his body seemed to be peeled off inch by inch. Behind him, on the Fekta peak, Ziyen floated down and held the god-destroying pagoda in his hands. His eyes suddenly turned sinister and the vigorous power surged into his body. He laughed loudly and said, "God-destroying pagoda, you are mine now. Ha ha ha, you are mine now. From today onwards, the demon realm will be ruled by me, Ziyen." Shi Yan was shocked. "Ziyen, you? Ha ha ha, my lord Shi Yan, you are so silly. How can a demon be a good person, ha ha ha, bastard?" Shi Yan rose and slashed with her sword. However, Ziyen had already raised the god-destroying pagoda and demon flames surged from the bottom of the pagoda. He laughed loudly and said, "Come, come, be the first sacrifice of the god-destroying pagoda." Buzz! The entire heaven and earth began to distort and the demon realm suddenly darkened. A beam of light shot out from the bottom of the god-destroying pagoda and blasted straight at Shi Yan. Pung! With a loud sound, Shi Yan's body turned into a shooting star and disappeared from the Fekta peak. She fell into the dark mountains in the distance and left a trail of light in the sky. Ziyen laughed crazily and when he looked down, he was suddenly stunned. Where is Eva's primordial spirit? Damn it, this woman is so fast. 6 realms, East Heaven. The Hall of Great Accomplishment was filled with the sounds of killing. Countless winged Mara descended from the sky and shot arrows into the bodies of the crippled gods outside the hall. The sounds of killing and screams were continuous. The heaven realm had already become a purgatory. At this moment, in Ba Huang Domain, the winged Mara were still playing around with the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. "Did you hear that, 7 luminaries Demon Emperor?" A loud sound came from the demon realm. "It's the light of the god-destroying pagoda. Ha 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 ha, His Majesty the Eternal Demon Emperor has already started to use the god-destroying pagoda to kill gods." "Who are those dead gods? Is it your Xiao or the mortal realm's Tang Xiaoxi?" He, I seem to have heard screams and begging for mercy. It's so tragic." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor's eyes were tightly shut. He could see the tragic scene not far away. The Hall of Great Accomplishment was surrounded and countless of his subordinates were fighting a bloody battle. The corners of the 7 brilliance demon monarch's eyes suddenly emitted wisps of golden flames. His lips curled upward as he said with a smile, "You've gone through a lot of trouble to seal my 12 meridians with vines, demanding my god force for your use, but, do you idiots know that I've already cultivated the 13th meridian 8 years ago? Do you guys really think you can trap me?" "What?" The winged Mara turned pale with fright. At the same time, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor roared angrily. The wisteria that filled the sky collapsed and burned. He had broken free. In the instant that he broke free, the golden light on his arm shone brightly, shattering the bodies of hundreds of demonic luos. He raised his head to look at the sky and bellowed furiously, "Heavenly Melody Scroll, get the hell out here. What kind of Mahayana heavenly Tao are you? Put away your high and mighty attitude. You are just a broken book. How can a broken book like you control the life and death of the living beings in the 6 realms? With or without you, I am still a god." Buzz buzz, in the sky, the golden scroll actually appeared. Lines of words illuminated the sky. Soon, the words, 7 luminaries Demon Emperor, appeared. Then, a huge celestial phenomenon appeared in the sky and gathered into the image of Nuwa. She said with a hint of dissatisfaction in her voice, "7 luminaries Demon Emperor, you are upright and fearless. You have obtained the approval of the heavenly voice scroll. Today, I will bestow upon you a first-class superior god Dharma body and the title Mad God. You will control the heavenly Tao of the 6 realms. I will also bestow upon you the ability, Unyielding Bones. I hope that you will uphold kindness and protect the Mahayana heavenly Tao for all living beings in the world. Whoosh! A mad god celestial phenomenon descended from the sky and focused on the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor pointed at Nuwa and said in a low voice, "Don't act all high and mighty. I won't submit to you. This is my ability, why do I need you to bestow it to me? I have tolerated the demon realm for almost half a year before your Bulsh *T Mahayana heavenly Tao appeared. Where were you when the world was in danger? Who do you think you are, high and mighty heavenly Tao?" Nuwa's avatar looked a little angry and said, "You are now a true god of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Try not to swear," the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor said coldly. "I don't have time to bicker with you. I'm going to the Hall of Great Accomplishment to tell your heavenly voice scroll to choose more true gods as soon as possible. This world cannot tolerate any more chaos." Nuwa was speechless. She watched as the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor disappeared before her eyes, but there was nothing she could do. The mad god naturally had to be wild and unrestrained. Otherwise, he wouldn't be called the mad god. Chapter 1188. In the sky above the Hall of Great Accomplishment, thousands of winged Mara flew around, letting out deafening roars. Outside the hall, blood flowed everywhere. Xiao, Sun Feng, and the others were all injured, but in order to protect the Hall of Great Accomplishment, they still fought to the death. Pooh! The sky that was originally shrouded in blood clouds was suddenly torn open, and a person descended from the sky. Behind him was a huge image of the mad god Dharma body. With a devastating attack, hundreds of Mara were instantly torn apart. The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor's speed was extremely fast, and he landed on the blood-stained steps in front of the Hall of Great Accomplishment like lightning. He bent his body slightly, and light swirled in his left palm. This was the prelude to the attack of the 7 glorious stars. Demon Emperor! Xiao cried tears of joy. Sun Feng, Qing Ping, and the others also knelt down. "Demon Emperor, you are finally back." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor gritted his teeth. This debt is not settled yet. In the next moment, the spirit mountain began to tremble. Rays of starlight seeped out from the surface of the mountain, transforming into the power of the stars that blasted towards the sky. Instantly, the 2-winged devil Luo's screams rang out. Just a single 7 glorious stars transformation had actually cleared out almost all of the devil Luos in the starry sky. In the sky, Mara's broken body continued to fall, as if it was raining blood. However, the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor looked at the hundreds of steps in the Hall of Great Accomplishment, and saw the corpses of the Eastern Heaven Realm cultivators everywhere. His heart sank. Although he killed thousands of Mara, the Eastern Heaven Realm clearly suffered more. "How many of us died?" asked the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor. Xiao said faintly, "There are about 100,000 crippled gods in the Eastern Heaven Realm, and the dead account for about 70% of them." "So many," Demon Emperor murmured, "it's all my fault. If it wasn't to avoid Sky Law's punishment, perhaps I wouldn't have to be trapped in 8 Wasteland Realm, let alone let Eastern Heaven Realm suffer such a heavy blow." Sun Feng said, "Your Majesty, we are willing to sacrifice ourselves for the Eastern Heaven Realm, you don't have to blame yourself. But don't worry. Now that I'm back, I won't let the Demon Realm encroach on my domain." The 7 luminaries Demon Emperor lightly shook his fists and said in a low voice, "I will find a way to remove the heavenly punishment, and I will also search for the secrets of the Mahayana heavenly path so that you can regain your true god bodies as soon as possible." "Yes, thank you, Your Majesty." Everyone knelt down one after another. There were at least 10,000 Eastern Heaven Realms crippled gods around the Hall of Great Accomplishment. They were almost all the elites of the Eastern Heaven Realm. At this moment, the faint sound of thunder came from the sky, and a huge figure descended from the sky. It was an image condensed from telekinesis, with white hair and a youthful complexion. It was Fushi. Xiao, Sun Feng, and the others seemed to know Fushi. They quickly knelt down and said respectfully, Xiao, Sun Feng greets your majesty. Everyone knelt down again, only the 7 luminaries demon emperor stood proudly on the blood-stained steps, raised his eyebrows and said, Heavenly Emperor Fuxi, how did you become a heavenly emperor? The 6 realms are in trouble, but you did nothing. Fuxi smiled gently and said, It's not that I did nothing, but the things that I could do were too little. With my lifetime's cultivation and the abilities of the 4 great disciples of the Sun, Moon, and Stars Palace, I could only guard the metal realm, so that the heavenly melody scroll could enter the 6 realms. 7 luminaries demon emperor, your mission and mine are different. I need to guard the metal realm, while you need to sweep away all the demons of the god realm in the 6 realms. What do you mean? Fuxi said, I just received news that you obtained the title of Mahayana Heavenly Tao, so I rushed here immediately. I hope you can go to the Northern Heaven realm immediately. There, the former divine King Dongming and 70,000 soldiers are trapped in Dark Castle. Nearly 100,000 demons are attacking them, and only you can save them. Are you kidding me? The 7 luminaries demon emperor smiled, Dongming and I have always been sworn enemies. Now that Dongming sent Yangshang to the mortal realm with the celestial race's army, so many of Yangshang's people turned into demons, I haven't even settled this debt yet, and now you want me to save Dongming? That's impossible. I know better than anyone what kind of person Dongming is. Fuxi smiled. That's right, Dongming is a person who thirsts for power, but there is still kindness in the depths of his heart. The 4 celestial realms are already in trouble, and only by forming an alliance can we resist the invasion of the powerful demon realm. I can also tell you another piece of news. The Heavenly Sound Scroll has already acknowledged Dongming's potential. Soon, it will naturally give Dongming the title of Mahayana Heavenly Tao. As long as you help him, Dongming will definitely be grateful to you and ally with your army to resist the power of the demon realm together. Is the demon realm that powerful? Only more powerful. A mere Mingshi can hold me back, and the overall strength of the demon realm is more than 10 times that of a Mingshi. Take Mara for example. In the demon realm, Mara's army numbers in the tens of millions. Do you think you can stop them all by yourself? The 7 luminaries demon emperor took a deep breath, feeling a chill in his heart, and said, Then, what benefits does it bring me to form an alliance with Dongming? Well. Fuxi did not say anything. The 7 luminaries demon emperor smiled, I understand now. Actually, you gods from the realm beyond heaven still have a certain amount of power to influence the heavenly melody scroll, right? At least, the heavenly melody scroll is activated by the power of you 3 ancestral gods. Since you want me to form an alliance with Dongming, I have a condition. I want you to use your own power to influence the heavenly melody scroll, and let Xiao step into the Mahayana Heavenly Tao as soon as possible. Demon Emperor. Xiao was a little moved. Fuxi remained silent. After calculating with his fingers, he smiled, There's no need for me to control it. Within a month, Xiao Fairy will definitely step into the Mahayana Heavenly Tao. Alright, that's all I have to say. You can decide what to do. With that said, Fuxi's figure instantly turned illusory and disappeared. The gods from the realm beyond heaven, all of them come and go as they please. The 7 luminaries demon emperor clenched his fists. Xiao said, Demon Emperor, what do we do now? You guys, stay and rebuild the Hall of Great Accomplishment. I want to enter the other spirit mountains and kill all the Mara who invaded the Eastern Heaven realm. Then, I will go to the Northern Heaven realm alone and save Dongming. I want to see what kind of achievements this uncouth Dongming has. Yes, I understand. Demon Realm, Fekta Temple. Demon General Ziyan, who was holding the god-destroying tower, stood majestically in the cold wind. Looking at the huge Fekta Temple, he felt an endless amount of power flowing into his body. He had reached an unprecedentedly powerful realm. He could not help but burst into laughter. Now, I am the strongest in the demon realm. 2-winged Mara, shouldn't you all be loyal to me? In the sky, the black mass of 2-winged Mara flew at an extremely fast speed like a rolling dark cloud. They all made a prostrating posture. They only respected the strongest. Since the god-destroying tower was in the hands of Ziyan, he was naturally the strongest. Right at this moment, a person parted the crowd of Moro and walked over. Her body was suffused with a faint demonic flame, and she held an exquisite battle axe in her hand. It was a woman, an enchanting woman from the devil world. The armor she wore was like a snake that coiled around her beautiful and delicate body. Her slender, snow-white legs were suffused with an intoxicating glow in the night sky. By Feng, Holy King. Ziyan was taken aback, but he smiled. The god-destroying tower in his hand floated in layers and was enshrouded in a majestic radiance. Now that the god-destroying tower is in my hands, do you plan to resist me? The corner of Baifeng's mouth curled up. The ancient demon emperor is cultivating underground and can come up at any time. Do you really think that you can rule the entire demon realm with just the god-destroying tower? Can't I? Ziyan burst into laughter. Then I'll let you experience it. As he spoke, Ziyan suddenly bent his body towards the ground and roared. The god-destroying pagoda in his hand shone brightly as he bellowed, so what if you hide it well? If the god-destroying pagoda can create your throne, then it can destroy you. Boom! The light illuminated the entire sky. The god-destroying pagoda was enshrouded in dense energy. It transformed into layers of energy ripples as it smashed towards the ground. A beam of light penetrated through the surface of the earth and went straight into the earth's core, pointing straight towards the location where the ancient devil emperor was cultivating. Boom! The entire ground shook violently. Even the southern corner of the Fekta palace started to collapse. The screams of Mara and the others were incessant. Ziyan, are you crazy? Bai Feng roared. Do you want to destroy the entire demon realm? Ziyan sneered. Bai Feng, Holy King, aren't you very loyal to the ancient demon emperor? Don't you think it's time for you to change masters? Call me master, and I'll consider sparing your life after killing the ancient demon emperor. You! Bai Feng trembled in anger. At this moment, within the majestic radiance of the god-destroying tower, a person was forcefully sucked out from the ground. Under the baptism of the radiance, his body curled up and trembled as he screamed. It was the ancient demon emperor. The once insufferably arrogant demon had no way to retaliate against the power of the god-destroying pagoda. Ziyan, you bastard! Bai Feng bellowed. His palm conjured a raging flame, and he launched a sneak attack at Ziyan. Unfortunately, the palm energy was dispersed by the radiance of the god-destroying tower when it was 3 meters away from Ziyan. The god-destroying tower was the ultimate divine weapon of the demon realm. Not only could it kill gods and Buddhas, it could also protect its user from harm. Do you really want to be my enemy? Ziyan suddenly turned around, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Bai Feng took a few steps back. His beautiful face was filled with fear. He did not speak anymore and stood in the air with his head lowered. Humph. Ziyan looked at the ancient demon emperor under the radiance of the god-destroying tower and couldn't help but sneer. For thousands of years, I have been obedient to you, but you have never thought of raising my status in the demon realm. You have given all the purest darkness raw stones to Bai Feng, Qilin, and the other holy kings, but you have never thought of me. Today, I will use your most beloved divine weapon to kill you personally. Under the bone-piercing radiance, the ancient demon emperor's body had already started to change shape. He roared angrily, Ziyan, you bastard who deceived your master and destroyed your ancestors. Ha ha ha, you just realized. Ziyan roared, and the radiance of the god-destroying tower increased. Instantly, the ancient demon emperor's body exploded in the air, and the fragments of his body turned into streaks of starlight. Ziyan had already flown forward, opened his mouth, and sucked in the remaining demonic aura of the ancient demon emperor. Instantly, his body trembled violently, and blood-colored scales grew on his skin. The radiance in his eyes became even brighter. With the help of the god-destroying tower, Ziyan had devoured at least 50% of the ancient demon emperor's cultivation. The fights between people in the demon realm were much crueler than those in the celestial realm and the mortal realm. Bai Feng slowly knelt on the ground and muttered while crying, "Your Majesty, Demon Emperor, I am useless." Ziyan's eyes were filled with disdain. His current cultivation was already above Bai Feng's. He said indifferently, "Two-winged Mara, search the mountains and find the location of Shiyan and Eva, then report to me." Yes. In the sky, the tens of thousands of two-winged Mara scattered in the blink of an eye. Bai Feng, the Holy King, wore a small white cloak. He stood up and said, "Ziyan, Demon Emperor, what are your orders?" Ziyan's lips curled up, and he smiled. "I have not tasted the taste of a woman in the demon realm, especially a woman of the Holy King's level. Tonight, you shall sleep with me." Ah. Bai Feng was shocked. Ziyan's eyes were ferocious as he laughed loudly. "Look at how scared you are. I have no interest in women. Don't worry, you just have to listen to my orders. I won't touch you. I am a good demon." Bai Feng. Chapter 1189. Amidst the mountains, in an inconspicuous cave, Shiyan hugged a broken sword tightly as she vomited blood continuously. That attack from the god-destroying pagoda had almost taken her life, but Shiyan didn't feel depressed at all. Instead, her face was filled with indescribable joy. She caressed the stains on the broken sword as streams of god power seeped into the weapon. Instantly, the blazing angel's power drew out the primordial spirit in the broken sword. Swish! Eva's primordial spirit floated out. It looked exactly the same as before, but it was much more haggard. Sister Hyan. The moment Eva saw Shiyan, her face was already filled with tears. Shiyan gently raised her hand, as if touching her face, and said, "I'm late, I've made you suffer. Hey, baby, tell me what happened." The demon realm broke through the seal of the 6 realms. The moment I barged into the seal, I was captured by the ancient demon emperor. It was done by the ancient demon emperor himself? Eva, I will think of a way to revive you. I will find a perfect body for you and reconstruct your spirit lattice. Don't worry. No. Eva muttered, "Sister Hyan, my primordial spirit is too weak." The ancient demon emperor had refined almost half of my god power and converted my power into the energy of the god-destroying pagoda. My current primordial spirit is no longer enough to reconstruct my spirit lattice. Don't worry, you still have me. If I say it's possible, then it's possible. Shiyan gritted her teeth and said, "Rest for a while first. I will find a chance to bring you out of the demon realm. It will be much safer when we reach the 6 realms. I will also have a chance to revive you. But, the ancient demon emperor will not let us off. Don't worry. The immemorial demon emperor is dead. He was killed by that lunatic, Ziyan." Shiyan looked out of the cave and said, "If my guess is wrong, the other 3 holy emperors of the demon realm will definitely come to avenge the eternal demon emperor. Once they fight with Ziyan, we will have already left the demon realm during the chaos. Alright then, I'll follow elder sister's arrangements. Alright, you should rest quickly and recover your strength." Alright, as Shiyan had expected, the Fecta Sacred Hall was already in a mess before daybreak. Countless demonic auras flew toward the Fecta Sacred Hall from afar. They were densely packed and countless. The other 3 saint emperors of the demon world had already brought their armies to suppress the Fecta Sacred Hall. The powerful demon world had many internal conflicts. With the death of the ancient demon emperor, the demon world had become leaderless. Although Ziyan had the god-destroying pagoda, he was still too inexperienced. No one would think highly of a mere demon general. In the sky above the Fecta temple, Ziyan was hugging the god-destroying pagoda. Behind him were Bai Feng, the other 2 holy kings, and countless Mara troops. They represented the power of the Fecta temple. In front of them, the world was filled with Mara. The other 3 holy emperors also appeared in their field of vision. They were Jiuzhue Holy Emperor, Holy Emperor of Destruction, and Skirich, Holy Emperor. Each of them had unfathomable cultivation, but they shared a common weakness: they were afraid of the god-destroying pagoda. None of them had the power to resist the god-destroying pagoda, but at the same time, they were unwilling to submit to the demon general Ziyan. Ziyan. Skirich, Holy Emperor's huge body rolled over. His lower body flowed like a black river, and he held a huge sword in his hand. Are you the one who killed the ancient demon emperor? Yes. Ziyan nodded and smiled. Skirich, Holy Emperor narrowed his eyes. What exactly do you want to do? Unify the demon world? Yes, so what? Skirich, Holy Emperor couldn't help but burst into laughter. You're just a demon general. Even if you have the god-destroying pagoda, can you really unify the demon world? Let me tell you, black is black and white is white. Do you think a god-destroying pagoda can change your status as a demon general and make you a demon emperor? Can't I? Ziyan's smile was filled with ruthlessness. The god-destroying pagoda's energy had recovered and he could use it again. With a roar, he took out the divine weapon. Instantly, a majestic light descended from the sky and turned into a huge tarot that enveloped Skirich, Holy Emperor's body. Skirich, Holy Emperor screamed in pain. He quickly opened his palms and roared, "Demonic chi control, break for me." Streams of fiery red energy revolved rapidly and resisted the god-destroying pagoda. Skirich, Holy Emperor's reputation as one of the 4 holy emperors was not undeserved. However, how could a single person resist the power of the entire demon world? In the blink of an eye, Skirich, Holy Emperor's arm broke. He spat out blood and lost consciousness. His body started to shatter. At the same time he died, the power and essence in his body turned into demonic chi and was absorbed by Ziyan crazily. This time, he could only absorb about 30% of Skirich, Holy Emperor's power. Although he had the god-destroying pagoda to protect him, the powerful power still surged. Ziyan's skin burst open and blood flowed continuously. He looked like a devil. Bathed in the blood of Skirich, Holy Emperor, he laughed loudly. He was in pain and excitement. He looked at Jianghu, Holy Emperor, and World Destroyer, Holy Emperor with a ferocious gaze and roared, "Do you see that? This is the result of resisting me. I have already devoured the eternal demon emperor's power. Now, with the addition of Skirich, Holy Emperor's power, do you think that my power is weaker than you? You are looking down on me too much. Ha 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 ha." As he spoke, he licked the blood at the corner of his mouth. Ziyan continued, "Even though Eternal Demon Emperor has such a powerful god-destroying pagoda, he did not devour you. You should be glad that Eternal Demon Emperor is kind-hearted. Of course, I am also kind-hearted. As long as the 2 of you swear loyalty to me, I will let you go. How about it?" Jianghu, Holy Emperor clenched his fists. His body trembled, but he did not speak. Very soon, he and God's destroying Holy Emperor knelt down together and said, "The 2 of us are willing to swear loyalty to you." Ziyan laughed loudly. "Now, what should you call me?" Ziyan, Demon Emperor. "Oh no, Ziyan, Ancestor Emperor." "Ha ha ha, that's more like it." Ziyan laughed sinisterly. "In the past, everyone looked down on me. Now, I want everyone to be afraid of me. I want everyone in the world to be afraid of me. I want the whole world to be under my feet." World-destroying Holy Emperor and Jianghu, Holy Emperor looked at each other and saw worry in each other's eyes. Originally, Eternal Demon Emperor had planned to use the power of the 7 luminaries Demon Emperor and Eva to forge the god-destroying pagoda into a perfect divine weapon. By then, no one in the world would be able to resist the god-destroying pagoda. However, he was killed before he could complete all this. Although the god-destroying pagoda was powerful, it was not invincible. Ziyan's greed had caused chaos in the demon world. At the same time, it seemed to have given the Mahayana Heavenly Tao a chance to retaliate. The starlight dimmed. Among the mountains, a figure flew away. It was Xian. She had already brought Eva's primordial spirit away from this ominous place as soon as possible. The longer they stayed in the demon world, the more danger they would be in. Behind them, a row of winged Mara screeched as they chased after them. However, their screeches did not attract Ziyan's attention. Ziyan was only concerned about establishing his might in front of the demons and had completely forgotten about Shiyan and Eva. In reality, ancestor Ziyan, who had devoured 2 holy emperors consecutively and possessed the god-destroying pagoda, did not care about Shiyan and Eva at all. Even if Shiyan and Eva were at their peak, ancestor Ziyan was confident that he could kill them within 10 moves. He indeed had the ability to do so. The power of the god-destroying pagoda was far beyond ordinary people's imagination. At the seal of the 6 realms, Shiyan, who was flying at full speed, was like a ray of cold light. As she flew into the chaos realm, she did not stop and flew towards the spirited mountain plain in the distance. Eva's primordial spirit's voice came from the broken sword. Sister Hyan, where are you going? The Western Divine Realm. Why? That's our home, and the Western Divine Realm has long been massacred by Mara's army. There are no humans or gods now. The demon world will not expect us to hide in the Western Divine Realm. Your body needs a large amount of light god power to reconstruct. As long as I can find the light origin stone in the Western Divine Realm, I have the confidence to reconstruct your body. Can't you feel it, Eva? The nomological power is recovering rapidly. The heavenly Tao that belongs to us has returned. Yes, it's the Mahayana heavenly Tao. Yes, don't talk. Rest well. I'm here for anything. Yes, at night, the Red Rock City's marshal's residence was quiet. It was rare that it did not snow. Lin Muyu stood in the courtyard, cultivating the star technique. His body glowed with faint starlight, as if he was plated with a layer of light. He was cultivating while Qin Yin and Tang Xiaoxi were brewing tea. The night was long and no one was in the mood to sleep. Many things seemed to have happened in the heaven realm. Tang Xiaoxi looked up at the sky and pursed her lips. The energy fluctuations are very strong, but we can't see it. The heavenly melody scroll might have become a god in the heaven realm. Xiao Shi, you're an orthodox god. Even you can't see it? Qin Yin was surprised. Yes, the nomological power of the Mahayana heavenly Tao is different. At this moment, Tang Xiaoxi suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Not good, something is coming. Mu, be careful." As she said that, Tang Xiaoxi's graceful body was already in the air. A flame descended from the sky. Shua, Tang Xiaoxi blocked it in the air. With a strong impact, she crashed into the ground. Just before she landed, Tang Xiaoxi forcefully resisted this force. A huge ice crystal appeared in her hands. What is this? Lin Muyu flew forward and asked. Behind her, a golden figure appeared. It was the 7 luminaries demon emperor. He smiled and said, "It's a demon shadow crystal." Brother demon emperor. Lin Muyu was surprised. You ascended to the Mahayana heavenly Tao? Yes. The demon emperor nodded with a smile. Ah, you, long time no see. This is a Mahayana divine crystal. I asked Nuwa for it on your behalf. It can sense the power of the demon realm. Once someone from the demon realm approaches, it will glow. At the same time, it will be mixed with the nomological power of the Mahayana heavenly Tao. You can see the names of the orthodox gods of the Mahayana heavenly Tao in the crystal. Oh. Lin Muyu reached out and wiped the crystal. Indeed, there were 2 golden names in the depths of the crystal. One was Tang Xiaoxi, and the other was the 7 luminaries demon emperor. That's great, I can't stay any longer. I still have things to do. You have to work hard. Yes. The 7 luminaries demon emperor came and left quickly. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Mad God. Tang Xiaoxi pursed her red lips and said, "His avatar is stronger than mine." You're tuning into the Carefree Valley YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.